So I'm sure many of you have seen a makeup declutter before, but you may not have seen one of mine, which, hi, if you're new, I'm Lucy. You're about to watch my annual makeup declutter, but if you are keen on other beauty content, I make that as well. But if you just like declutter content, I also have wardrobe declutters if that is of interest. I will pop some links down below linking to all of the product details that we go through in this video because I will be chatting through a lot of product. So if you're watching this video and you want some more information, it will be linked in the description box down below. I personally really like and enjoy watching declutter content because I find it's a really great way to basically get a bunch of like mini reviews from other creators. But I also just want to quickly touch on the nature of declutters in general and consumption, because I feel like we've all been thinking about it a little bit more and we love critical thinking. We love having big thoughts. So just to frame this video, I have more beauty products than I would have if I didn't make YouTube videos. I know that you probably don't think it's normal, but I don't think it hurts for me to say again, this isn't really normal. So that also just leads me to what happens to the product that is decluttered. None of the product in this video is brand new. It's all been at least lightly used, so it can't be donated. For the most part, if they are in a good and hygienic condition, then I actually do just pass them on to my close family and friends. I will say this is obviously a makeup declutter video, but if you are interested in skincare, I don't do skincare declutters just because I manage that whole system in a different way. And one of the ways I manage it and share it with you is via a spreadsheet, which is recently updated. So if you're interested in skincare reviews, I have a full spreadsheet with like over 200, I think, reviews and ratings and information. It's all there, so you can check that out. So let's take a look at the before situation. This is what we are dealing with. As I said, since our last declutter, I have moved, so I have a bit of a different storage solution. I'm not totally settled on it being like the best in terms of the way I've organized it and set it up, but I'm pretty happy with it. But it is definitely due for a bit of an audit, a declutter, if you will, which is why we're here. But before we get into the declutter, these videos are pretty long and you're gonna be spending a lot of time looking at my hands, my phalanges. So big shout out and thank you to this video sponsor for keeping my hands looking cute, and that is Linjer. I say they're keeping my hands cute, but they are keeping lots of things cute because Linjer are a jewelry brand that are focusing on providing luxurious and sustainable pieces at fair prices. They use sustainable materials like recycled gold and silver and keep their prices low by directly selling to customers. So if you haven't heard of Linjer before, let me introduce them to you and tell you a few things about the brand. First, Linjer's name is actually the Norwegian word for lines, which references the brand's very simple and minimal design. So they're using recycled materials wherever possible, including 100% recycled gold and silver. So there are no brass bases here, which are the kind of thing that can turn your earlobes or your fingers green if you ever had that happen. You know, so none of that here. If you head on over to the Linjer website, you'll see they have such a range of jewelry no matter your taste or budget. So by all means, browse to your heart's content, but I wanted to highlight a couple of my pieces that I have to show you. First up, we have these little cuties. These are a couple of rings that I've actually had in my collection for a while since I started working with Linjer. So they're not new, but they are in beautiful condition. And I will be wearing them throughout the duration of this video on my little phalanges as I rummage around. So we have the Charlotte Baguette ring, again with recycled sterling silver and a natural London blue topaz, which is so pretty. I wear a lot of blue, and so I wear this ring a lot to just kind of like bring out the colors in my outfit as like a little extra sparkle on the finger. And on my other hand, I have another ring, a gemstone ring. This is the Ilsa white topaz ring. And I love this one because it has a collection of smaller gemstones which just remind me of like a starry sky or like constellations, very magical, very sparkly. I just like the way they're like sprinkled across my finger. And again, I want to say both of these I've had in my jewelry collection for a while now. I am a bit of a clumsy person. I'm not particularly precious or careful with my hands. Even as I talk, I'm very expressive. And then I have a couple of new pieces. First up of these are the Meredith earrings. And these are a slightly chunky sterling silver hoop with freshwater pearl. Now, of course, I got them in the sterling silver, but these also come in a gold vermeil. You already know I love silver, but I also love a good pearl moment. So this is hitting all of my favorite elements when it comes to jewelry. I'm really enjoying having these on my lobes. And also keep in mind, I just have one ear piercing, but if you have multiple, like these are such a cute piece that you would be able to like mix and match with your earring stack. And then I saw this piece on the website and I thought it was really gorgeous. And it is the Florence petal chain bracelet. And I actually got it in white gold, which I feel like as someone who likes cool tone jewelry, I tend to stray away from pieces that have like gold in them. But as you can see, white gold obviously is very cool toned. Again, I love these types of designs because they look so cute on their own, but they also mix and match really well with everything. They layer nicely. And as you are building your jewelry collection and investing in quality pieces, obviously retail prices of jewelry can be a little crazy. And this bracelet, again, 14K white gold, retails on the Linjer website for less than half of the estimated retail value. So with Linjer, you're not paying that kind of extra markup that you get with other retailers and brands. So a big thank you to Linjer for keeping my fingies looking cute as you stare at them for the next hour, 2 hours. And also a thank you to them for supporting me and the channel. You can use my link below and code LucyLivin to save when you are shopping on their website, whether you're getting something cute for yourself, for someone else, and save on your order. And now let us begin the declutter. So let's just get right into it with the first category, which is cushion foundations. And I have quite a few of them. This is probably one of the categories that I cycle through the most because I really enjoy trying new ones. I use all of them and go through them quite quickly and then try more new ones. But I have tried to hold on to any of the ones that were worth holding on to since our last declutter for me to talk about before I have decluttered them. I'll talk about the two Reminder ones first. This is the new Zero cushion. This was a reformulation of their original formula, and I think I prefer the original formula to this one. It's a little more matte, not matte, but the other one had a bit more of like a satin vibe, whereas this one's more of like a natural like satin bordering on matte, if you know what I mean. It's just not quite as glowy. It's solid, but I think where I used to really love the original, this one I enjoy. It's like a 7 out of 10. It's like good, but I have others I prefer that are my favorite. So this one is ready to go. It's pretty much dry, but this one is going to be decluttered. This one is also a Reminder cushion. This is the Bare Water cushion. This is their more sheer, glowy, glossy type of cushion, and I really like this one. I wear this one quite a lot, especially if you like a lower coverage, like no makeup type of vibe, but it still like evens out the skin and makes you look kind of like glowy and healthy. For my day-to-day, I do prefer something that is a little bit lower coverage, which this one is. So I am keeping this one and continuing to use it up. This Espoir one, I do really like. Sorry, it's just got some fun little smudgies on there. I think the color specifically works quite well for me. I wear 20 Vanilla, and it's just a really nice, cool toned, fair shade that doesn't lean too pink. I do like this one. I have a little bit to go before I completely finish this one up. I'd say this is more of like a medium coverage satin sort of vibe. Then this one from Fui. You've probably heard of Fui because of the Souffle or Jelly Pot blushes, which I do have one of those and I'll talk about later. But this is their Cushion Glass, and I couldn't get this color in store when I was in Korea. Like I really had heard a lot about this cushion when I was traveling and I wanted to try it. And I think this one's solid. I think the shade of this is just a little too pink for me personally. And the formula is solid, but as I, kind of go back and forth between them, I found myself not reaching for this one as much as the others. So probably not as good as the Reminder one that I talked about here. It's good. It's not bad. I'll let you know if they're bad. And I appreciate good, but when I know that there are some cushions that are great, I probably won't be revisiting good. I would still try out other Fui cushion formulas in the future because I'm a curious cat. I'm always keen to revisit and try new things. This one I've also had for ages and is pretty much dried up, so I'll be decluttering this. And then we come to these two. So starting with this one, which is the newer edition, this is the 2AN cushion, and I was sent this as a PR to try, and I have been really impressed with this. I've been wearing it more and more recently, and it just lasts so well and wears really well, and the color for me is really good. It's like that perfect, fair, cool tone shade that doesn't lean too pink or too yellow. It's like just a nice balance. So yeah, I've been really enjoying this, and this is the most recent acquisition on the table, so I'll be keeping this one. And then my beloved, best for last, the John Moule Essential Skin Nude Cushion in the shade Fair. I love this cushion. I think it's so beautiful. I just fall in love with it again and again. Sometimes I'll go through a little period where I'm testing and trying other things, and I'll come back to this and I'll be like, oh, it's so good. This is like my reliable cushion foundation, where if I don't want to be testing or trying things and I want my makeup to just look really beautiful, I feel like that feels a bit weird to say, but I just feel like when I wear this, my skin just looks great. Really healthy, and it just doesn't look like you're wearing much makeup. It just looks like you have kind of like a Lord of the Rings Galadriel style glow with like a little bit of gloss to the skin. It's just fantastic. This cushion I need to replace, but I actually do have a refill, but like the actual cushion inside of here is getting a little old, a little musty. So I will not be decluttering this. I will be keeping this. I will be putting in the refill soon, and I will probably continue to purchase refills for this because this is my favorite cushion I have tried to date. So these are all of my cushions. These ones we are decluttering, they are done. And then these ones here we are keeping. These two are probably quite close to being finished, whereas this one I obviously have a refill. This one I am still quite new, but I like all of them. I want to kind of finish them up, and I'm keen to test some new cushions as well. I love cushion foundations. Now coming on to concealers, I feel like it's kind of a bit of a roughed up looking crew. So starting with liquid concealers, I have this one from Revlon. It's the Illuminance Concealer. I got sent this in PR and I really like it. Actually, I'm really enjoying it. I use the shade Fair 01 and it's pretty good for me. It's maybe a touch on the yellow side for me, but I tend to actually just wear this alone, just like under my eyes, a little bit in the center of my face where I tend to be a little bit more pink. And then I just like blend it out and wear it on its own, like not with foundation, because the finish of this is like a really nice satin kind of finish that looks really good, blends out really nicely. So yeah, I've been enjoying this and will continue using it. I also just realized I forgot to mention I have like a burn on my thumb, which I got from toasting a hot cross bun because yeah, so don't mind that. I'm fine. A foolish injury in pursuit of delicious baked good yumminess. But this next one is the classic old school Maybelline Age Rewind. I don't love the sponge tip on this. I know you can like take it off and just dispense it without it on top, but I don't know if it's just because it's a little bit old now, like I've had this for a while and it's oxidized or something, but the color of this it like oxidizes to be a little too like peachy orange on me, and I know it's mostly for under the eyes, and so having that peachiness can counteract it. So I think I'm gonna declutter it because it's a bit old. It's just not, I'm not reaching for it, and whenever I use it I'm like, why did I do that? So for now I'm going to say goodbye to this one. Then we come to our 3 pot concealers, and I'm going to be keeping all 3 of these. These 2 specifically are my holy grails. This is the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the shade Chantilly. This is the best thing for covering blemishes. I put it on before I put on my foundation, so just like cover the blemish in it and like let it get a little tacky, and it just works so well. The color is totally perfect for me, and I only use a tiny little bit each time. I've had this for years. Like, it's probably getting a bit questionably old right now, but it smells fine, the texture looks fine, nothing about it looks suspicious, so I'm of the opinion that if that's the case, you can continue to use it. I'm not a makeup artist, I'm only using it on myself, so I think it's fine. But I will be repurchasing this when I run out. It's just the best. It's so, so, so good. And then likewise with this kind of roughed up looking concealer pot, this is the Becca RIP, but now Smashbox Under Eye Brightening Corrector. If you have under eye circles, whether they are hereditary or if you're like me, I'm just very fair, so I have like veins around my eyes because there's a lot of pigment in my skin, so you can just see all the darkness and the fun blue and purpleness going on. This is just, I can't explain how much I love it. This is probably my most used piece of makeup. Like, I pretty much use this every single time I do my makeup. It's amazing, and I'm so glad that when Becca went out of business that this was acquired by Smashbox, because it's fantastic. I'm open to trying other, you know, under eye corrector, like under eye concealer type things, but part of me is just like, why would I? when I already have the perfect product. Like, I'm open to new love, but I'm in a committed relationship with this under eye concealer. So definitely keeping this and will repurchase as I have many times before. And then this little guy is the Glossier Stretch Concealer, which I picked up at the Glossier store when I went. And I probably should use this more than I do. It's just because it's sort of like a lightweight concealer, and I would use this similarly to how I use the Revlon one, as like an all over instead of foundation kind of vibe. But also I feel, and this always happens after I declutter, once I kind of pare everything down a little bit, I have more like mental / eye space to focus on and use the things that I like. So I will be holding on to this and trying to get some more use out of it. So out of the 5 concealers I had, these ones are staying, and just this one is going, which is, yeah, that's fine. So now we come to skin tints, tinted moisturizers, foundations, kind of a bit of a mix. So starting off with the 2 skin tints, I don't wear these as much as I wear like a lightweight cushion foundation or just concealer. I don't reach for them as much. I think it is something to do with the configuration of my drawers at the moment. My old drawers and the old way I would do storage was like a bit wider, so I could like see more stuff at once, whereas now they're like longer and skinnier. So things that kind of go up the back, I tend to not reach for as much. And in particular, my top drawer is a bit stuck, which because I'm taking everything out, I'm hoping to fix. So like they really don't get seen as much, but I do like both of these skin tints and wear both of them. I feel like they were both here in the last makeup video I talked about, and I'm still working my way through them. The Summer Fridays one is a really nice sheer skin tint, and it has a little bit of SPF in it. Same with this one from Numbers, they both have SPF, but yeah, they're just nice, chill, low maintenance options. Just pop it on and kind of buff it out with like a fluffy foundation brush, and we are good to go. These ones I like mostly use for like a holiday, like a beachy kind of vibe, that I can put on without thinking too much, and also have like a little top up of SPF. So these ones I am keeping, still using. And then these are my more stereotypical foundations. So this one from Hera I love, and I think we are getting towards the end of it. I've had it for a long time, but I love this foundation. It's definitely on the more pricey side, but it is so beautiful, such a lovely finish, like so glowy. Will use this up. I don't know if I'll immediately repurchase because it does take me a while to get through these more like traditional liquid foundations, and I would be keen to like try other things, but I do love it and would recommend it to people. Then I have my beloved, another holy grail. This is the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation. I love this. You do have to do a bit more skin prep with it if you are dry. Like you do have to make sure you're nicely moisturized, otherwise it can look a little flat. But if you do the skin prep required, it looks so beautiful. It lasts really well. This color, I think it's the shade Cream. Ooh, spinning. And I'm spinning like, just chill. It's just fantastic. For me, just so great. So I will be holding on to this. Also, I hope this declutter doesn't feel like dissatisfying. Honestly, I'm not mad about the fact that I did a really big cull before we moved, and since then I have not really accumulated much more product that, you know, I don't end up loving, which is a side effect of me testing and trying products. But I do know for a fact, I think this is the category, like the base category is probably the category that's going to have like the leanest amount of declutter, whereas some of the other drawers I know for a fact are probably going to be a bit more cutthroat or have a bit more of a satisfying declutter, if you will. Anyway, all preamble for this last one. I did get gifted this in PR. I did work with Lancome last year, which was lovely. They were very generous with the product they sent my way, and I love and I'm keeping a lot of them. This is the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear. This is like a more medium to full coverage matte foundation, really long wearing. It's not that it's not a good product, it's really good at what it does, but I just tend to not go for this type of foundation in my day-to-day. The other thing is that this one, they redid their shade range. I know the shades have been changed a little bit, at least from what I've seen on Reddit. But so this shade on me does oxidize a little more peachy, like a little more saturated than I prefer my foundation shade. So I will be passing this on to someone else, like a member of my family or one of my friends who can use it, because I haven't used it much at all and it's still pretty new and in great condition, but I'm just not getting the wear out of it. Like I said, still a great product, but it's just not something I really reach for those aforementioned reasons. So once again, a category where we are keeping all of these and then just decluttering one thing, but that is fine. Okie dokie, next up is my pretty moderate collection of contour slash bronzing products. And when I say that, I do primarily mean contour. I'm not really a bronzer gal. These two here are newish additions, and then these two I've had for quite some time. And I think if you watched the last declutter, these are in it. So I'm gonna start with talking about these two and this one because it keeps rolling around. This I got really recently, actually just in the last couple of weeks. This is the Espoir Be Glow Stick Shading. And this is a cream contour stick that is really cool toned, almost gray looking on camera. I have been wanting like a cream contour stick for a little while. This is a new addition to the collection and I have quite enjoyed it so far. I don't really contour every day. It's more of a like occasional thing, but this is like my one liquid cream contour product and I think it's pretty nice. I'll just show you the color so you can see, because it's like got quite that like ashy sort of tone, but it still doesn't look like, I don't know, it's not too dark, and you can see it's really liquidy and blends out quite sheer. Super user friendly, and you can almost like entirely blend it out, so it's very forgiving. So yeah, I will be keeping this one. And then this one here, if you watch my flower nose video, this is the, ooh, what's the name? The Butterfly Cloud Color Collection. That's what this is from. And it is this contour palette here, which has a really nice kind of shimmery, glowy, vanilla toned highlight, a more matte highlight, but I actually kind of just use it as a face powder with a little bit of pigment in it, and then two contour shades, one a little bit lighter, one a bit darker. Again, I don't contour that often, but I do like these formulas and I will continue to use it because I think it's quite lovely, and I love the packaging as well. Obviously, if you've seen my other videos or if you haven't, I have done quite a few reviews on Flower Nose. Not every product from them is my favorite, but I do think generally the quality of the product inside is pretty solid, and some of them are quite great. And the packaging is of course super stunning. So keeping that one as well. And then we have these two, and it's kind of a little bit of a dilemma because they are very similar. So I've just zoomed you in so you can see these two a little better. But here we have the Art Class by Rodin shading from Too Cool for School. This is in the cooler toned shade. And then we have here from Romand their contour shading product as well, also in the cooler tone shade. So basically my advice would be, if you're looking at buying either of these, they're both great. I really like both of them. I do think they are extremely similar, but the thing with this one is the lid is broken. It dropped onto the floor and the lid snapped off, and so now it just comes cleanly off, which honestly, not a big deal. I've gone back and forth about whether I want to declutter this one, not because like the packaging renders it useless, but because, you know, I do have a double up and it does feel like a bit silly to have both. And I've just been like, you know what, let me just work away on this one and prioritize finishing this one with the broken packaging. And then once I've hit pan on it and really used it significantly, then I will just have this one and that will literally be fine. So all of that to say in this very exciting section is that I will be keeping everything for the time being. And that is just because there's nothing wrong with any of these products. And to be honest, I just don't get really very excited about the contouring section of my collection, if I'm being quite honest. Like, it's just not a section which I tend to experiment with as much, and maybe in the future that will change. But unlike something like blush or highlighter or lips, like the lip category, I always feel like we have a lot to talk about. This is just a category where I kind of just find a good one and use it. So I'm just gonna keep, you know, dutifully working away with my old faithfuls, and that's the vibe. Just being honest with you about that fact, I realize from a viewer perspective, it's maybe not that entertaining or satisfying, but I'm not mad about using up product that I have. With that, let's move on to the next section. Okay, primers. I am gonna be real. I nearly forgot about the primers because of the aforementioned like drawer that was stuck, and I put the primers at the back because I don't reach for them every day. If you have seen my other content, I'm a skincare enjoyer, and I do find that for me as well, having dry skin, doing a good amount of skin prep is honestly half the battle for me in terms of getting my makeup to turn out well. All to say, if you're like, hey,
Aren't these the primers that you showed in the last declutter video? And have you made much headway on using them? The answer is not really, because I don't use primer that often. But let's just quickly go through them. This is my only like smoothing type primer, the Too Cool for School one. So I'll be keeping that one. And then these three are all glowy primers in different forms. This one here is the Laura Mercier Foundation Primer Radiance. It's like a sort of like a champagne-y type color. And I would say out of the three, I've probably used this the most recently, just because I have used this one on its own almost as like a bit of a skin tint. So I have been enjoying this one, and I do really like the texture of this one. It's quite tacky, and I think of the remaining three luminizing ones, this is sort of like a hybrid between like a glowy moisturizing type primer and also like a kind of traditional smoothing primer. So keeping that one. And then we have these two Strobe Cream, my beloved. I love MAC Strobe Cream, especially the silver one. I will say I do think this one is getting a little bit old, and because it is a very like moisturizing, creamy, liquidy product, I'm not 100% sure like how long I've had it for, because I've had it for a really long time. So I'm gonna do like a little like sniff test off camera to see if it's still, actually I can just do it now. I'm just gonna do it now. It just smells like classic strobe cream. Such a good nostalgic smell. And there's my beautifully glowy hand compared to my non-glowy hand. You can see the glow it gives. Wow, strobe cream is actually so iconic. This is in the silver light shade, not the like pinky one. Wow, that's so pretty. I feel like I should use it more. Well, this looks fine, it smells fine, it feels fine, so that in my books for personal makeup use means that it is fine. So I'm going to be keeping strobe cream. And this one from VDL is the Lumi Layer Primer. I've really only used this a few times. This primer does have like some iridescent pigment, so it's sort of like strobe cream, but I would say it's less moisturizing and more, again, that typical like kind of tacky primer formula. All to say, we're keeping all of these guys party rock. And then last in the base category, we have powders, and we have a mix of some pressed ones and some loose ones. Let's talk about the pressed ones first. We have the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder and the Can Make Marshmallow Finish Powder. This one, as you can see from the inside, is kind of my ride or die. This is my holy grail powder. I feel like I've talked about this in every makeup declutter I've done since I started my channel. I love, love, love this powder. It's just so beautiful. It really creates like a soft, ethereal glow and just sets the makeup down a little bit, but I am not a person who really likes to or super needs to set my makeup down. The only time when I'm really mattifying down my makeup is when I'm filming, ironically, on camera, because I use ring light and lighting that makes me look a lot more glowy and shiny. That in person it doesn't look so crazy, or at least I don't think so, but on camera it does look kind of crazy. So this is what I use like day to day when I just want to kind of take a little bit of that like wet shine down from my makeup but still leave it looking really healthy and glowy. I will continue to repurchase this because I have not found a dupe for this or something else that's similar to this, but this is perfect and I'll definitely keep this. It's amazing. And then I'm also going to be keeping this one, but for a different reason, because this from Can Make is a great affordable setting powder that just sets the skin down. I've used quite a bit of this. We're not hitting pan on this, but I think this is my second or third one of these powders. But I use this powder a lot when I film because it's probably my most mattifying powder. It has a little bit of tint and coverage, but it is more on the sheer side, and I'm generally just applying it kind of in my T-zone. This is a really great affordable pressed powder, and I recommend it to a lot of people. So these two are both big favorites in the drawer that I reach for really, really often. And then these three are loose powders. Starting with this one, this is the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder. Very much like a beauty YouTube / like beauty community favorite. Really nice because it doesn't give flashback when you are taking photos. And it also is just really long lasting. So if I know we're going for a big evening out or just a long day out, then I'll reach for this one. This is a great setting powder and lasts a really long time. And then these two, I would say I probably reach for these ones the least, just because they're loose setting powders. Starting with this one from Flower Nose, I love the packaging. Like this music box packaging is just so gorgeous and stunning. And it has a really super fine texture. Sorry, I started laughing because I realized what I do sort of use this for sometimes, which is a bit weird. But when I run out of dry shampoo, I use a little bit of this powder because it's so finely milled and has like a very light, like floral fragrance to it, that I sometimes will use this just on like my curtain bangs or on like the top of my head if I've run out of dry shampoo. Otherwise I'll use dry shampoo, but it does work quite well for that purpose, which any powder typically does. I do like this one. Is it as high quality as the Laura Mercier one? Not quite. Is it as amazing? Is it as expensive as that one? No. Beautiful packaging, really solid product. But like I mentioned, I don't always powder every day. And this one is like my daily driver because it's like not super mattifying, whereas this one is a bit more mattifying. So I don't really use this one for filming because this one is like stronger and just easy to apply with a little puff. I also love the packaging, and like I maybe would reuse this packaging to hold like another loose powder. It's so gorgeous and stunning. And then last but not least, this is the Silk Powder from Tatcha. And I've gone back and forth on this formula a little bit because I find this one to be a bit of like a weightier formula. Like it's not quite as lightweight. Something like this, the Flower Nose one, super lightweight, a really, really light powder, really fine. Whereas this one has, I would say it's like a bit of a sheen or like a really healthy glow. It's got like a little bit of a tint to it, but nothing crazy. I find this one works best if I use it on a more minimal amount of makeup. Like if I'm wearing just a bit of concealer and I've kind of lightly blended it across the face, or like a super light tint. But anything that is like a heavier weight product, not in terms of coverage, but just in terms of like, yeah, like a glowy foundation or like a more moisturizing skin tint, then this doesn't look as good on top of it, or it looks more like makeup-y more quickly. But I'm going to finish it up because I am actually looking at the bottom and I think I'm getting there. Like it is looking like I'm close to finishing up, and I'd rather just finish it up and pan it and then continue on with the other ones. Another category that maybe feels like a bit of a flop from a decluttering perspective, but I'm going to choose to see it as a win, that I haven't accumulated a lot of products that I don't enjoy or don't get along with. It is really easy when you are, gifted things in PR, or you are testing and trying things for content to, accumulate stuff where you are testing and trying it for the purpose of reviewing it and for, being helpful with information, but then you do have product left over where you're like, I don't really like this for the room. But then you are left with product where you're like, oh, this isn't really for me. So I'm happy that, and yeah, I think I'm close to finishing these two. So potentially some room for me to test and try some new things. Although in the case of this one, I may potentially repurchase it because it is my holy grail. And with that, that was the end of the declutter for the top drawer, which for me, that drawer includes primer, concealer, foundation, powder, and contour. And this is what we have decluttered, which doesn't feel particularly significant. I'm not mad about it though, because it does mean that all of the things that are there are things that I feel like I am going to use or make my way through. And if you feel like it's been a little bit of like a slow start to the video in terms of decluttering, I'm looking at the category that I have lined up next to me, and I feel like it's going to be a little bit more brutal from here. And the next category is my next drawer, which is blush and highlighter. And I love blush. I feel like blush as like a trend has been back in a big way, and a lot of like cream and liquid blushes have been released. So there's quite a bit to go through in this section, and even like looking at some of the stuff I have lined up, I'm like, oh yeah, there's going to be a bit of change happening and potentially a little bit of agonizing on some of the decisions. But with that, let's get started with highlighter before we tackle blush, because the blush section is, let's work our way up. Okay, I had to zoom us out a little bit to fit everything in, but these are all of my highlighters, and I feel like there's quite a few. Like I'm kind of looking at it being like, when did this happen? I don't remember this happening. So let's get right into it, because I feel like I'm ready to make some decisions. And I'm going to start with this one because it's the most reflective. This is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit. And this, like the more recent versions of this, it's a holiday release from Hourglass, at least in the non-gold packaging. And this, the more recent releases became super viral. And I was a bit like, why this one went viral? They all are like this every year. I'm not entirely sure if it was just like the shade range or what, but it is a beautiful palette. But as you're about to see, and this is like a bit embarrassing, guys, mine's not very used. and it continues to not be used. And as I've learned more about my preferences and myself, I've realized it's because a lot of the colors in here, and I was swatching these the other day as I was prepping for this video, a lot of the colors in here are quite warm toned and I am cool toned. Not to say that you can't use warm tone colors, but when I got this palette, I will say the, what's it called? The Constellation. Yeah, the Constellation is I did get this palette back when I worked somewhere where I had a staff discount. So I did not pay full retail price for this palette because they are very expensive. And I was so excited to get this and like look at the beautiful like pink chrome packaging. But I was just so convinced that I would get so much use out of this. And I haven't, and I've taken it away with me on trips because I'm like, it has everything you need. It has like a setting powder and bronzer and like these 2 blushes, but it's like, I don't really use bronzer and like I don't use like golden highlighters, and I don't really use blushes that are like a tawny kind of rosy, like pinky orangey. And I found that I don't really enjoy the blushes either. And I was swatching them the other day and trying to like will myself into loving them, and it's just not happening. And I feel bad about it, but I also like, I didn't know what I didn't know at the time when I got it. So I've held on to it for a really long time because I'm like, surely I will just learn to love it. But I just don't think I will. And it's not because of the quality of the powders. So yeah, the time has come. This one is getting decluttered and passed along. Alrighty, then we have these 2. This one is the Bobbi Brown Shimmer Brick. This is like such an, it's in the shade Rose. It's a really lovely shimmery kind of, yeah, rosy luminizer. And I'll just swatch it so you can kind of see the vibe. It's a really sheer, you can really even barely see it. It's like a sheer rose tinted glow. And it's so pretty. So I am going to hold on to this one and keep using it. And then this one here is the Dior Backstage Glow Face Palette. Funnily enough, for similar reasons to the Hourglass one, I actually mostly just use these 2 shades, and you can see like these 2 are a lot more worn down compared to these 2. However, I use these so often and I love the way they look. If they just released these 2 as a duo, I would get that because they're just so stunningly gorgeous. They're like a really, yeah, similar to the Bobbi Brown one here where it's like a glow. It's like this, but it's a bit more intense. They're not metallic-y, they just have like a wet sheen. It's so pretty. So I feel a bit silly being like, I don't use half the shades in the Hourglass one, but obviously there's like 6 shades in that and it's really big and I really don't get that much use out of it, and I won't reach for specifically the 2 shades in that I do use. Whereas this, I specifically reach for this just to use these 2 shades and I love them. So I am keeping this one because I'm obsessed with it. It's so good and it feels silly because I only use these 2 shades. Like I can't endorse you in good faith to be like, go get this for these 2 shades. But I do have it and I do love these 2 shades and I just think they're incredible. So I am keeping this one. And now we're going to talk cream highlighters. I was going to say cream / liquid, but I don't actually have any liquid highlighters. I just have creams. So starting with one that I know I'm going to declutter. This is from Pixi. This was a somewhat recent addition. Pixi are very kind enough to have me on their PR list and do send me things quite regularly. So this I was sent in PR and I do love a good cream highlighting product. So I was interested to try it. It is like this bar type applicator and the formula itself is quite firm or stiff. Like it doesn't really, it's not super liquidy or gel. It's not super creamy. So you do have to like use a decent amount of force to apply it. So in terms of using it from the stick, I find that it would shift the foundation that I was wearing underneath. So then I was testing it using a brush and like getting a brush and using that to apply. And honestly, the formula is just not for me. And I'm just swatching some to see if you can kind of see it. You can see it there in that stripe. On my hand on top of the strobe cream, it just doesn't really play well with foundation products. Like I've just found it's a bit tricky, and also I feel like the effect it gives is not really, I've just sort of blended it in a little bit, but like where did it go? It doesn't really wow me. I'm not really particularly taken with it, so unfortunately this one's not for me. I do want to try some of their blushes in this formula though, because I know people love the like gel blushes from Pixi, but this just, yeah, hasn't really worked out for me. So I'm going to declutter this one. And then we are left with these ones. This Fenty Beauty highlighter in the like pink packaging. I really don't reach for that often, but I can't pull myself to declutter it because it's so pretty. And it's such a like unique glittery gel formula. Like I'm just gonna swatch a little bit on here. Like, it is not showing up particularly well on camera, but it's very glittery. Oh my gosh, it's not showing up at all. It's very glittery and sparkly though. And it has recently been revealed that this was what they used on Mikey Madison's eyes in Honora. And I went and saw Honora in cinemas. I really liked it, but I was looking at her eyes in those scenes being like, what is that sparkle she has on? It's so stunning. And so I'm like, I need to do that. And I haven't quite had the occasion to, which I probably should just do it on like a Thursday lunchtime or something. But I now want to keep it specifically for that purpose to use as like an eye glitter. And it's so sad that it's not showing up on camera because it is the most gorgeous like glittery fairy dust type of thing. I tend not to use this for my cheeks because it looks a bit too intense, but for eyes, absolutely yes. So I'm going to keep this for a bit longer just to use for that. And we can always come back to this in future because I know I don't use it that often, but it is beautiful. And even if it's for special occasions, I don't mind having some items that I don't reach for as often, but really enjoy when I do. So holding on to this one. And then these two, this one I got recently. If you haven't seen the video yet, I tested out the best selling, like most award-winning K-beauty products of last year. So this is from Glint. It's their stick highlighter, and I really like this. It is hard to show on camera because it's more of like a glow, like a creamy wet glow than it is like a shimmery shine, but it is really gorgeous. So I will be continuing to use this as I got it quite recently. Recent, very much enjoyed acquisition. And this, my beloved Colourpop highlighter in the shade Flexitarian. Are you ready? It's like crumbs in there. I'm gonna have to be careful to not spill it everywhere. I know the time is coming, and it probably should be quite soon. Would you all hate me if I held on to it for a little bit longer and just pressed it back down and continued to use it, because there's just something about this shade. And I don't order from Colourpop very often, but I love this so much. And I maybe will have a look for something to replace it, but I'm also like, Colourpop is just such a nice, affordable price point. I don't know if I need to replace it. I think I just will repurchase this because it's so, so, so pretty. Yeah, you were probably looking at that being like, is that the Galan Pearls? Nope, just a broken up Colourpop highlighter. But there's something about it. It's like a beautiful creamy vanilla shade, and I'll just get the bit that has landed on the table and swatch it for you. I don't know if it's really working. Can you see it? I have so much glowy stuff on my hand, it's probably not helping very much. But it's just like a beautiful wet glow, and it almost looks like my skin color. It's like a really, really bright, creamy vanilla highlight with a bit of sheen to it, but not too metallic, but enough to like catch the light in like a really pretty way. So pretty. I love this. So yeah, I'm probably gonna declutter it soon, but I might just get a few more days out of it. You know, it's like, I'm gonna take it for one last meal, one last, you know, run in the park. You know what I mean? Because it's great. And then I'm gonna quickly just go through my powder highlighters, because I think I have some easy decisions to make here. And I think it is gonna be that I keep these two and declutter these two. So I'll just quickly talk about these ones first. So this one from Cezanne is their highlighter. The Cezanne highlighter is quite a popular item in like the rankings of Japan, but specifically the vanilla shade, like the kind of more traditional champagne-y shade, is what's really popular. When I picked this up, I was in Japan and this was like a new release, and it was like this iridescent purple, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And so I got it, and it's a really beautiful iridescent purple color, but I used this more recently, and I hadn't been reaching for it very often because I don't use iridescent purples like on the day-to-day, but I reached for it more recently, and I like turned my cheek and I noticed that the color was like the reflect was like darker than my skin, so it looked like a dark stripe on my cheek when I like turned, and I was like, oh, that's not great. And I have this one here from Romand, which is their kind of purpley pink iridescent highlighter, and this is a lot prettier and I do prefer it. So it's sort of like I have two things that are quite similar, one which I quite enjoy and one which I sort of don't. It's not that it's not a nice product, it's just the shade, because it's an iridescent shade, when I turn my cheek a particular way, it looks like I've got like a metallic stripe on my cheek, and it's not from it not being blended, it's just because it's like the color is like a bit too dark, if that makes sense. Like the purple is like too pigmented in the reflect. I hope I'm explaining that correctly. But yeah, so I am going to declutter this and say goodbye to it. Nice product, and I'd be keen to try other Cezanne highlighters, but this one, just for my use case for the day-to-day, I just don't really use it. And so spoiler alert, I'm keeping this one from Romand. It's from their Hawk collection. It's the pinky shade. It's sort of hard to see. It looks like It's like a very light, slightly peachy pink, but the reflect is more of that like silvery lilac shade. And so it does look quite unique, but it doesn't look super out there. Like it's quite wearable. You can wear it on the day to day. So I'm keeping this one. And then this is from Musage Mansion, which I feel like has been quite a popular or trendy K-beauty brand. And their Australian team was really nice to send me a bunch of stuff to try. But then like I've lost contact with them because we were like talking about doing something, but they just disappeared, which is a bit odd. So I have had this stuff to test and try for a little while. And this is the highlighter, which the packaging for these is cool. It sort of is a bit random, like to have a triangle that is also a square sit in your drawer, but like I'm not mad about it. I think it's very cool and funky and something different. This is like a white highlight with a pinky purpley shift to it, so it's like hard to show up on camera, but it does shift to like a peachy pinky purpley kind of situation, but it has like quite a bit of glitter in it, and so when I wear it, it looks a little chunky, the texture's a bit funky. I can't really get around it. I just don't think it looks that great on the skin. I don't love a super glittery chunky highlight. I prefer something more like glowy or, you know, creamy. Not that there's no place for like a glittery highlight in my collection, but this one I just don't think is particularly great. So yeah, I'm going to pass this one along because I am not really getting a lot of use out of it. I have other products from them I'll talk about through the video, but that highlighter is just, it's a bit meh for me. So then we've already talked about this one, which I'll be keeping, but this one from MAC is their Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Lightscapade, and I will be keeping this because it is a gorgeous, beautiful vanilla highlight. I used it again like just the other day or the day before, and it was so pretty. And I was like looking at my makeup after I did it and I was like, wow, that looks so good. So I will be keeping this for the foreseeable future because I think it is just the most beautiful everyday glowy highlight. If you have like more tan or like warm tone skin, I would say Soft and Gentle from MAC is really pretty. So keeping 7, decluttering 4. I think that's a pretty solid effort, and I hope shows you my intention that I am happy to declutter things if I feel the need. Not heaps of decluttering has happened so far, but this is maybe a marker of more intense decluttering to come in this video, especially as we go into color categories. Alrighty, so these are all of the liquid blushes that I have in my collection. Starting with these two from Glossier, these are the Glossier Cloud Paints. I have it in the shade Puff, which is like a kind of traditional classic baby pink, and the shade Wisp, which is like a jammy lavender sort of color. But I do like the Glossier Cloud Paint formula. It's really lovely, and I like how just small the packaging is. It's really great for travel. I find this can pull just a little bit warm on me. I think it's meant to be like a neutral classic baby pink. It does pull the tiniest bit warm on me. Nothing crazy, but just to note. But this shade, in the shade Wisp, if you are cool tone or just want something, it does look like lavendery, so you might be like, that's kind of crazy. Like swatching that on my hand, you're like, that looks really purple, but on the cheeks, it blends out to be just like a really nice, soft, pinky shade, and the purple isn't really visible. And you can see it shears out really pretty. So if you are of a fairer skin tone or if you're cool toned, try Wisp. I know they also have like a deeper shade that's also like a purpley kind of jammy berry color, which looks really pretty. But yeah, don't be scared of purples. They look a little crazy in the tube, but they do come out looking a lot more like a soft pink on the cheek. Anyway, I will be holding on to both of these. I just think they're great, and I am planning some travel in the next couple of months, and I'm just thinking about it and I'm like, oh, Wisp would be a good one to take on the trip. Unlike, for example, something like this. This is from News. This is their Soft Mousse Cheek. Very chunky, quite weighty packaging, but the product inside is really great. I won't chat about it too much in detail because I have talked about this quite recently in a video where I'm testing some of the best-selling, award-winning K-beauty products, and this was one of them. So I have got this one in quite recently to test for that video, and I really liked it. It's really lovely. Light, like purpley, lavendery, pinky color. Looks super natural, beautiful dewy finish. Would definitely recommend checking these out, although at the moment I will say the shades are quite limited to like fair pastel-y sort of colors. So I hope they can increase the range in the future, but the formula itself is really, really great. So I'm going to be holding on to that. Speaking of beauty souvenirs and like travel beauty vibes, this is from Ali. It's a Japanese brand, and this is their Cheek UV in the shade Lucent Pink. I picked this up on my last trip to Japan, which was, I keep thinking it was really recent, but it was a couple of years ago now, so clearly I'm just living on that high. But this was like everywhere. It was kind of like a new launch, lots of kind of marketing in store and like little stands for this one. But it's like a cheek UV, so like a cheek sunscreen. I feel like I've spoken about it before, but if you haven't heard me speak about it, I feel a little skeptical about like UV makeup, because ultimately you should just have a good sunscreen across your whole face to protect you. So maybe a little bit gimmicky. I mean, obviously more sunscreen is never bad, but yeah, you know what I mean. But the formula of this itself is actually really lovely. It's like a glossy, dewy, baby pink liquid, and I really like the shade and the finish. It's really nice and sheer, like a nice bright baby pink, super easy to blend out, and just looks really nice on the skin and lasts really well too. And maybe, you know, there is something to that like sunscreen sort of formula that makes it stay a little bit longer. I feel like when I show you things on my hand, it kind of looks like nothing. In person, it's a lot more saturated, both the Glossier one and this one. But yeah, I have been really enjoying using this and really like how it looks when I do my makeup. So yeah, would recommend as a cream blush. Not sure if I would recommend as a sunscreen, but there you go, keeping this one. Next up is the Necker Liquid Blush in the shade Dulcetto Lavender. I would say the majority of the time when you're testing products, it's pretty rare that something will be like really amazing or really bad, and a lot of the time things will just be kind of average or slightly above average or below average. Like, you know, it's a very much like a bell curve, and this does just fall into that, like, it's just fine. The formula is nothing amazing, but nothing bad. But for me, the real turnoff has been the color. I noticed every time I was using this to do my makeup, like after I initially tested it, was like, yeah, you know, it's good. But it's almost like it oxidizes and pulls warm throughout the day. And I've seen that happen with a few of my other blushes, but this one, it happened a couple of times and I was just like really put off by it. Like, I just had finished doing my makeup and then I would like look in the mirror like an hour or two later and be like, why does my blush look so like peachy, especially because it is like a lavendery type color, which, you know, you would think would counteract it and have more of that blue in there. So yeah, I am going to declutter this one because I'm just not getting the use out of it, because I'm avoiding it, because it does not, the shade doesn't actually suit me. And I feel like with blushes, it's so much more noticeable because I use really cool toned like eyeshadow, or I don't always use eyeshadow, and then my lip products are generally pretty cool toned. So then it's like everything on my face is like a pretty cool like ashy in tone, and then just my blush is like warm tone, so it kind of sticks out a bit. So yeah, decluttering this one. And then the remaining three, I am going to hold on to all of them. I swear we will be decluttering some things in this section. So I'll just do like rapid fire reviews. This one from 3CE is their liquid blush in the shade Side Piece. I fear this one is not totally dissimilar to this one in that I have noticed it is pulling a little warm, although that could also be from this formula being quite old. Like, I've had this liquid blush for years now. Obviously, I know a lot of people are a bit more strict about the expiration dates with their makeup. I am not. Again, my rule is, does it look different? Does it smell different? Does it feel different? Okay, then maybe it's time to, you know, get rid of it. But I keep all of my makeup in a dark, cool drawer, and it is just me using it. So it, you know, it's fine. It's just me. But yeah, this is a fabulous liquid blush, and 3CE, all of their shades, I find, tend to pull really warm. Like, just their shade range generally is just on the warm side of things. Obviously amazing that there's a really great warm toned range. This blush shade though, it's more like a watermelon-y kind of pink, and I find those tend to work pretty well for me. I can notice this pulling a little like yellowy orangey on me at times after a long day, but just generally, the formula of this is fantastic. I've loved it for a really long time. I would highly recommend these 3CE liquid blushes if they still make them. I think they do. But I also am getting close to finishing it, so it probably won't be here for the next declutter. You could maybe count this as a declutter because it's nearly emptied, but I am going to hold on to it to finish it up. And then these two, I have the I'm Meme liquid blush and then the new Flower Nose liquid blush from their Strawberry Shortcake. Both of these are great, and I would say both of these are like natural sort of shades. They're both quite like soft pink, pastel-y, maybe like a tiny little bit like rosy, peachy kind of vibe. But both of these mimic, I would say, like a rosy flush on fair skin. And I wear both of these quite a bit when I'm wearing like really minimal makeup because they're quite like light and sheer shades. This one from iMeme is almost like watercolory. Like the formula is super duper thin, like really watery. I don't know if you can see, but it doesn't really have much weight to it at all. And then this one from Flower Nose is more of your traditional liquidy, creamy sort of texture. But yeah, I have been enjoying both of these, my little My Blush But Better type of shades. So I'm gonna hang on to both of them, which does mean in the liquid blush category, it is like that is being decluttered and these are staying. I will say, I think liquid and cream blush are my most used kinds of blush. And I do wear blush pretty much every time I do makeup, so they are getting used. I feel like I'm coping. You can also basically count this as being decluttered because it's like, I'm really scraping the bottom of the tube there. But I feel unlike in my last declutter where I was decluttering a lot of shades because I was like, guys, do I even wear these types of shades? Like, do they even look good on me? I feel like I have been gravitating towards shades and better at picking shades that do work for me, that I do enjoy wearing. So feeling good about that, and will continue to use all of these as I have been. Like looking at all of them, I'm like, yeah, I've used all of these in like the last few weeks. So yeah, very happy with those. I hope you have been having a cozy time watching the declutter so far. Just want to share that I have my cozy little mug with some hot honey and lemon. Underrated beverage combo. Think I have been talking too much, but good thing that there's still so much of this video to go. If you have been enjoying the sound of my dulcet tones in this makeup declutter, then feel free to give the video a like to let me know that you like it. And also if you are new here and you like declutter content and just generally beauty, fashion, a little lifestyle, all that good jazz, then do subscribe if you are new because there's plenty more where this came from. If you like a yapper, I have great news. I love to yap. See the rest of my channel as evidence. But rather than going straight into cream blushes, because I feel like I'll also be keeping quite a few of these, I'm gonna go into powders because there are a couple here which I already know I'm gonna declutter. I will say I do feel like my powder blushes are some of the prettiest makeup pieces in my collection, mostly due to probably the Flower Nose packaging. It's so gorgeous. Like, sorry, my blush has little swans on it who are in love wearing little bows and kissing. I don't know if they're actually kissing, but you know what I mean? What can I even say about this? Shall we start with this one? I guess I'm already talking about it. So this is the blush from the Swan Ballet collection, and it is a gorgeous, cool tone baby pink. This is like a great blush color for me. I love it so much and I need to reach for it more often. And I will say I have been reaching. This is such a beautiful blush color. Like, are you kidding? Just a gorgeous, gorgeous pastel color. I have been reaching, as I said, more for my liquid and cream blushes as of recent, but coming into like the winter months, I find I go for like a bit more of like a matte, like velvety finish, and it's like, it's your time. You can see the embossing is worn away, so it is getting used and loved, and I will be keeping it. And I also do think this is some of the prettiest packaging ever. It's so stunning. It is in the shade 08 Silky Ribbon, if anyone is interested. But again, I do pop the details down below for you. And on a similar cool tone pink shade, this is like my bougie blush. This is the Dior Backstage blush in 001 Rosy Glow. This was actually a gift from my boyfriend's family for Christmas, I think, like a year or two ago, which was very, very sweet of them. As you can see, super cool toned pink shade. I will say though, I've seen some like controversy online. Some people are like, this is the best blush ever made. And other people are like, hey, this texture is kind of whack. And I kind of agree that the texture of this is a bit odd. It's like you really have to dig your blush in there. It's like quite a stiff formula. But once you get it on your finger and blend it in, it's very like, but it does take a bit to like actually get it out. Some people have said to scratch the top off, but I'm like, that seems kind of weird. I don't know if I need to do that, but maybe I do, but I'm like, I think it's just like that. It's a bit more fiddly than you would expect for such a fancy blush. The color is beautiful though, and it does last really well. Like once you get it on the cheek, like it is locked in. Yeah, bit of a weird one. The color is pretty, but just a bit more finicky than you would maybe think, like not beginner friendly, I would say. But I am holding on to it because I do like it. I just wanted to give that caveat because I feel like it's worth mentioning. And then another cool toned one. This is the Can Make Powder Cheek, and as you can see, it's in this like really lovely lavender shade. I had like 2 purplish shades of these Can Make blushes a while back, and I was like, I ended up decluttering one of them, and I was like, I think I'll just use this one. Like, I'm more likely to use this one. And guys, to be honest, I just haven't really reached for it. I love Can Make, and I've already spoken about Can Make, and I will talk about some more Can Make products that I really enjoy, but their powder blushes, I just haven't had amazing experiences with. They're not my favorite, like the ones I've tried so far, and I've tried the ones with the fleur cheek, you know, the ones that have like the little flowers and the sparkles in them. So yeah, I thought it was maybe a color thing, but I think it's also like a formula thing. I'm just never really drawn to use this over anything else. So I am gonna declutter it. It's just not getting the use I feel like it needs to get. And like even just putting some on my finger now and swatching it here, it's not like very easy color pickup. Like it is a stiffer kind of formula. This is not a reason why I would declutter it on its own, but just like as we're talking about things, I don't love product that has applicators in the packaging. I know that's really common with a lot of Japanese like affordable like drugstore tier makeup, like eyeshadows that have applicators and blushes that have applicators. I get that. I don't really like it because it's like I'm not really going to ever use this applicator over like a brush I have at home, and it just makes it bulkier. That's just not specific to Can Make, but all makeup. I don't love having like packaging be bulkier for an applicator because I never really use them anyway. Maybe I'll try some other like Can Make blushes. I don't know. I just can't love this one, unfortunately. And then I just spoke about these, but these are the Romand Better Than Cheeks. This one is Strawberry Milk, and I think this one is, I want to say Fig something. I think that's what it is, Fig or Blueberry, one of the two. These are great affordable blushes. I use both of these really often, especially because they are a very sheer, like milky formula, so you don't pick up heaps of pigment, but I actually prefer that. I know some people really like their product to have lots and lots of pigment, and I get that, especially for things like glittery eyeshadows, colored eyeshadows, things like that. But for blush, I do prefer something that's sheer and more watery that can be built up. So both of these I use really often. So these are a definite keep for me. And then this one makes me a little bit sad because this is from an indie brand called Odin's Eye, and I think they are such a lovely brand that do some really beautiful collaborations, and they do lots of really cute like creator collaborations. So I say this with like a heavy heart and like a bit of awkwardness. And they are so sweet. They did send me a few shades of these blushes in PR, and I did just use this one to test because I was like, this shade out of all of them, I think I would be the most likely to enjoy. It's the Solman Sunlight Love Blusher in the shade Lilac Mist. And you'll see when I open it why I would pick this color, because it's like a gorgeous like dusky berry lilac-y kind of shade. It's really pretty. However, every time I go to use it, these are, and you can take this as like a compliment to the brand, these are so pigmented that it's difficult for me to use kind of casually, because the pigment in these, it's so loaded with pigment that when I dip in a brush with like the tiniest amount and pop it on my cheek, it kind of like, you can see, I just swiped it once and that is the amount that I got on my fingertip, like not even a brush. It's so pigmented. This color will be gorgeous on more like tan or like melanated skin tones like than mine, because it's really gorgeous and pigmented, like such a pretty color. But it just, even when I like blend it out or like I use the tiniest amount, it's still a little too pigmented and saturated for me and my preferences. Gorgeous shade, and you know, great formula with lovely pigment from an indie brand. And I think they have such a great range of shades that are like, would suit so many different skin tones. Really love them for that. Unfortunately for me and like my preferences of the kind of makeup I like, it just doesn't work for me, unfortunately, and like how I do my blush. Really recommend if you want like a nice pigmented creamy product, and the brand has like such cool packaging and storytelling. But yeah, I've used it a few times, and every time I use it, I feel like I am working really hard to blend it, or like trying to blend it out with other things, or popping, you know, face powder or foundation like back over where it is just to kind of soften it a bit. So beautiful product, but just not for me. And then we have a couple other flower nose blushes. Again, I love the packaging of these. I'm tossing up if I want to keep both of these or if I might declutter one of them. If I was going to declutter one of them, it's not going to be this one. This is from the Strawberry Rococo collection, and it's this really lovely dusky pink shade. it's like a nude pink, but with like a grayish tone to it, which I find really pretty. And this is really nice to wear when I'm wearing like more colorful eye makeup or like a bolder lip, because it still gives a nice amount of color to my cheeks, but without like competing. And I will be holding on to this one. This one, however, I go back and forth. This is from the Butterfly Cloud Color Collection. This is a really gorgeous split shade blush they sent to me, and one shade is like this milky kind of creamy color and the other shade is like a dusky beige, and I was worried this would be too warm toned for me. I think it's like really nice and natural, and I still think that because when I swatch it, like I'm combining the two, you can see it's like a milky pink, like it's barely got really any pigment to it. And when I swatch it, you can see, okay, that actually looks kind of comical. On my hand, it doesn't really look like anything, but it does show up on my cheek because my face is a bit fairer than my hand. I don't know if I get heaps of use out of it, especially not compared to some of my liquid and cream blushes that are also kind of that like beigey natural flush shade. So I'm kind of, because some of them I'm like I actively don't like using it or like it's actively not for me, whereas this one I'm like I just don't think I get a lot of use out of it, because if I am to do a more kind of like naturally shade, I tend to go for a liquid or cream formula as opposed to a powder, because when I want this type of natural flush shade, it's when I'm not wearing much makeup, and I tend to not use powder blush when I'm not wearing much makeup. You kind of get my vibe. I might go back on this, but I think I may pass this one on just because I feel I'm not getting enough use out of it, and it is like a beautiful product, and I think someone else who uses powder blush more frequently and likes this type of rosy beige shade as a powder formula would use it more. I don't need it just hanging out in my drawer. I might change my mind off camera, but I think I will declutter this one. And then last but not least, we have the 3CE blush. I will spare you the story, but I had previously hit pan on this formula of blush, but in a different shade. And it was only as I was like finishing that blush that I looked up in the mirror and was like, why do I look sad? And I was like, oh, because the blush is pulling yellow on me. How weird. Needless to say, love the blush formula. I hope they're not all showing up as the exact same shade on camera. I am not crazy. I swear they all have their differences to them. But this is a lovely shade of powder blush and a little bit more saturated, like a little bit more pop of color than some of the more like dusky, you can see there, like more gray tones that I have, but also not quite as like lilac, cool, like Barbie pink pulling as like the Dior one or one of the Flower Nose ones. It's just kind of in the middle, like middle of the road baby pink. I'll be holding on to this one. So these are the powder blushes I'm keeping, these 6 here. And then these 3 I was gonna say sadly decluttering, but it's more of like a Marie Kondo, like kiss, thank you so much for your service, and sending you on to a better place. And then finally, in the blush category, we are coming to the cream blushes, and I have a couple here where I'm looking at them and I'm like, it's time to say goodbye. Which of them will it be? You will find out now. First up, let's talk about this cutie from Lily by Red. It is their Love Beam Cheek Balm. As you can see, has received some solid love and use from me, and I really like this one. Like, you put it on and you're like, wow, that is a cool tone baby pink. So if you have been looking for a baby pink that doesn't pull warm, try this one, because it really, really does not. Also, we love the cute heart-shaped packaging, so this one is a keep for me. Now we have my beloved 3CE blush cushion in the shade pink. I knew coming into this video that I would be decluttering this, only because this is dry, dead, fully used up, but I just wanted to give it a little bit of extra love and a send off. It has a little puff inside, and under that, there is a cushion soaked with a like watery blush serum. Anyway, I have used this a lot. I really like it. I won't be repurchasing it for the time going forward, just because it's not, I don't know, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I really miss it, but I did really like it. So I wanted to like say something nice about it. And if you've been thinking about it, I do really like these formulas. I think they're very pretty, but I am going to declutter it as it is kind of dead. This is the Rhode Pocket Blush in the shade Piggy, which I think is such an interesting name for a cream blush. This is actually a gift from my friend who went to the States and did a Rhode order, and she gave it to me. So if you're watching, thank you so much. I have been using this quite a bit actually. It's a really nice like cool toned baby pink shade. How many times will I say cool toned baby pink in this video? We are yet to see. But like, look at that. So creamy, quite pigmented too. Like you only need a dot on each cheek. And I'm so glad she got me the mini size because I don't know, I quite like a mini because it takes a while to use up a full size product, as we know. Blends out really pretty, has a nice dewy formula. I didn't have any expectations for this product because again, it was a gift, but I'm pretty impressed. So shout out to the Rhode Pocket Blushes because pretty nice formula. Next up is this. It looks a little bit worse from wear, but this is the Flower Beauty Lip and Cheek in the shade Strawberry Crush. And I have used this quite a lot. I did just wind up the stick because it's like a little windy stick situation, and I've definitely used like more than halfway. I think I'm like down to there. But this is a really lovely dewy cheek product. I don't swipe straight from the stick. I do take a little brush and like get some on the brush and then apply to the cheek. I believe this is more easily accessible in the States because it's Flower Beauty, which I believe is Drew Barrymore's brand. I don't see it like in person basically ever, but I do like this one and I will continue making my way down the stick. Then these two I've already spoken about, I think both on YouTube and on short form content, but this is the Fouille Blurry Pudding Pot and then the Desique Souffle Color Pot. Both of these are the popular like pudding or souffle style cream products that are designed to be lip and cheek. Both of these are like more cool tone shades from the respective brands. Obviously Fouille is I think the most viral one, but I actually really like the Desique ones as well. But yeah, these are somewhat recent additions. I've been enjoying wearing them, have been wearing them quite frequently. So I will be holding on to these for the foreseeable future. And then this guy here, as you can see, it is black. This is from Romand from their Black Spectrum collection. This is like a balmy texture, but it is like one of those pH like color changing type scenarios where it looks black, but when you blend it in onto the skin, whether it's like your lip or cheek, it has a bit more of a berry shade, although there it kind of just disappeared. Now, you guys know I love Romand. Obviously, I've already spoken about their blush formula and how much I love it, and I will speak some more about Romand because I have some more products from them that I really love. It is a really beautiful like berry color, but for me, it's just a bit too dark and too vibrant. I've used this a few times and I've tried to make it work in different ways, and I just don't find myself loving it. Not to say it's not for other people, but just isn't my jam, pun not intended, because of the jammy color. So I will be passing this on because it just like, I don't know. I can't get excited about it. And here we have our cream blushes. These are the ones that I am keeping. And that is all of the blushes that are being decluttered. It's not a crazy amount, like compared to the amount that I'm keeping, but I feel good about it. Like some of these I have been waiting to talk about in this video so I could declutter them. So thank you all for your service and goodbye. And with that, draw 2 out of 4 is done. We are at the halfway point. Saying that feels kind of crazy because I feel like I've been recording for a really long time already, but we shall persist. Okie dokie, moving on to the third drawer. I have myself another little mug of tea here. We are ready to get underway, and this drawer is all things eyes. So mascara, eyeliner, eyeshadow, and of course eyeshadow palettes. That's what we're about to get into. Don't be alarmed. These are all of my mascaras, and the only reason, don't worry, I haven't been consistently using all of these. I would say mascara is probably one of the only categories where I am a little bit more strict about the rule because, you know, eye health is not something to be trifled with. These ones are the ones that I'm currently using that are my fresh mascaras, and these ones are the ones I am no longer using. So let's just quickly chat through these ones. Of these 5 mascaras, I don't like these 2 and I feel kind of neutral about this one in the middle. This one is a mascara from Flower Nose and it's not bad. I just have a preference where I don't really like crunchy mascaras, and I would say most waterproof mascaras, which are really popular from Asian beauty brands, so J Beauty, K Beauty, C Beauty, waterproof mascaras are really popular because they're really great at holding a curl. I do like a waterproof mascara, but again, some of the formulas do tend to be quite like crispy or crunchy, which is really effective at holding the curl. This is just one of those. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a type of formula that I personally don't like. But I will say this did have quite a pretty brown color and it looked nice on my lashes. I just don't like that really crispy type of mascara. And Also, like most other waterproof mascaras, crispy or not, they can be really tricky to remove, and this one needed a dedicated remover. I don't mind using a dedicated remover for my mascara. In fact, one of the ones I really enjoy right now, I do have to use a dedicated remover, but it's just like that extra, I guess, element of a mascara where I'm like, do I like it enough to, you know, use an extra product to do an extra step? And with this one, it's just fine. It's just not for me. So that's that one. This next one is the Deja Vu Lash Up. It is a Japanese mascara. It was, when I bought it, like a really popular, like top 3 best-selling mascara. Again, similar to the Flower Nose one, this is like a lot of really popular Japanese mascaras, and some I do actually like and prefer. It is like a pretty crunchy type mascara. I'll be honest, I don't remember liking this very much. It is a curling mascara, so I do think potentially if it didn't have much volumizing or lengthening properties to it, and it was just to like hold a curl, which it may have been good at doing, but I find there are other mascaras that can also volumize or also lengthen and hold a curl. Can't remember liking this. Great review, Lucy. Anyway, that's that one. And then these 3 mascaras I did like, particularly these 2 here. And then the Heroin Make one I have used before. Heroin Make is a Japanese mascara brand, and their mascaras are very famous and very good. I think from memory, my favorite is the Long and Curl, like of the different formulas. And I think I liked this one, but not as much as the Long and Curl. This is just the Long Up one. I generally like Heroin Make mascaras and recommend them to people, especially if they're traveling to Japan. This one in the super cute baby pink tube is the Glossier Lash Slick. I have it in the shade brown. I would say most mascaras, if they come in like a dark brown shade, is what I tend to go for. This is a great mascara. I have bought it a couple of times before. I think it's not my first time using it. I love this mascara. I get sad when it runs out because it's a really beautiful mascara on your bottom lashes, also on the top lashes, but it's just a really nice, I would say, like natural mascara, like My Lashes But Better type vibe. It's not super dramatic or anything, but I do think it's very pretty. It's very comfortable to wear, easy to remove. I would say for most people, I think they would enjoy Glossier Lash Slick unless you want something super dramatic, but I would definitely buy this again. And now that we can get Glossier in Australia, it's not so like contraband, like have to smuggle from overseas vibes. I can just get it here, which is great. And then this one is from Revlon, and it really surprised me. They sent it to me in PR. It's the Color Stay Extensionaire mascara. This is also in the black brown shade. Wow, this is a great mascara. It really took me by surprise. It is like a tubing style formula that really lengthens and volumizes the lashes, holds a curl really well. This one really took me by surprise and ended up being like one of my favorite products of 2024, of like last year. I made a little TikTok about it, but if you didn't see that, yeah, ended up being in kind of my like mascara eyeliner combo of the year. And I am just really impressed by it. Very like Bambi pretty lashes, like My Lashes But Better, kind of like the Glossier, but a bit more oomph than the Glossier one. Really like this one. And then these are the mascaras I am still using ongoing and holding onto. This one from Revlon, unfortunately, it has had like some of the writing rub off, but is the all-in tubing mascara. It's a little different to the Extensionaire, which is the gold one. I prefer the Extensionaire. I think, having tried them both, they're both good, but I would just say I like the kind of volumizing and the effect of the Extensionaire just a little bit more than the all-in one. This one is more like the Glossier Lash Slick, where it's like a little more subtle. It's not quite as thickening. And then this one from I love the way this looks. This is the Big Mood Up Long and Curl mascara. Really great, but also super waterproof, and the type of mascara you do need to use like a dedicated eye makeup remover on. So it's a bit annoying from that aspect, but it is really good. I love the brown color. It keeps your lashes like super stick straight, really holds that curl, but doesn't feel crispy. So I do like that one, but I don't use it every day because I do find the way to get it off, like it is a bit annoying. Like it's a bit more of a chore to remove, but I think it is worth it. And then this one from Lancome, you can tell by like the iconic tube shape, is the Lancome Hypnose Drama. I love Lancome mascaras. Obviously they are a bit more of a luxury purchase, but they are just such beautiful mascaras, and kind of weird, but Lancome mascaras have like the nicest scent. It's like a honey rose sort of smell. And I have loved Lancome mascaras ever since I got into makeup because my mum always used the Lancome mascaras, and when you would buy Lancome makeup, you would get the little gift with purchase like mini travel size mascaras that were like super tiny, and she would let me use them when I was like first getting into makeup and trying and playing with things. And this is my only black mascara in my collection. Like these two are a dark brown, whereas this is like a black. So I use this more for like evenings going out when I want a little bit more of a dramatic effect. And then this is the Lancome mascara primer, which I got in PR with this mascara, although I have bought Lancome mascaras on a few occasions, but I don't normally buy the lash primer, but I use this from time to time, although I'll be real, most days I just use my mascara on its own. So these are the mascaras I have in my current rotation, although pretty soon I will be like finishing some of these up or swapping them out, because mascaras are the thing I probably go through most, as you can see by this declutter. So these ones are staying and these ones are going. They are done. And having all of those old mascaras that I had sitting there for the express purposes of chatting them through in this video, and now having them exit, that drawer is gonna look so good already. But on to the next category, which is eyeliner. And similar to the mascara, I have a few here that are getting a little old, especially liquid liners. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of shuffling and kind of separate them into groups, and then we'll chat through in a bit more detail. Okay, these liners here are liquid and these liners are pencil and gel. Let's chat about the liquid ones first. So of the 4 liquid liners here, I'm going to keep these 2 and declutter these 2, mainly because these 2 are getting a little old, and so they're getting dried out. They're liquid eyeliners, they don't stay fresh forever. First up is the Flower Nose liquid eyeliner. I have talked about this quite a bit on my channel if you've watched some of my other beauty videos, but I would say this is a great liquid eyeliner. It has a brush tip, really beginner friendly, and a great price point. I do have a backup for this liquid liner, which I may potentially crack open if I don't have any other brown liquid liners that I want to try out. I really like this liquid liner, but it has, the last few times I used it, I was like, okay, this one is used up, it needs to go. And this one is from McQueen New York. It is their waterproof pen eyeliner, and this is another great budget eyeliner. I know it was one of the best sellers on YesStyle at a point in time. Not sure if it still is, but I can definitely recommend this for a budget option. I do slightly prefer the Flower Nose one. I do think this is just like a slightly more elegant, nicer liquid liner, but for the price point, I really think it's quite hard to beat the McQueen one, especially for a pen tip liquid eyeliner. So this one is very well used and loved, but does need to be decluttered. And then these 2 are fresher additions to the eyeliner drawer. It is the Fierce Wing eyeliner, which I haven't used a bunch because it is like a glossy black liquid liner. It is a brush tip. It is really easy to use. I have really enjoyed it the few times I've used it. I just don't do like a black winged liner that often anymore. I am more often doing a brown liner, but it is nice from what I've used so far. So that's that. I'm keeping it because while I don't do it that often, I do it sometimes, and it's good to have one on hand that I like. And then this one I also got in PR from working with Lancome last year. It is the Idol Ultra Precise Waterproof Liner, and this is a black texture liner, which is the type I don't normally go for, but I will say this is like not a super dark, like opaque, inky black. It's more of like a soft black in that it's not like super duper pigmented. It's a nice formula, it's easy to use. So I have these 2 and I will hold on to these for my liquid liners, but I probably will potentially add a brown liquid liner to the pack. And then we have all of my gel and pencil liners. A couple of these are the Linjer glitter liners. One is in like a white sparkle, one is in like a lilac-y sort of sparkle. I don't use these that often, but I did actually use them again recently, and I was like, wow, what a nice formula. So these are cute. I just don't use them that frequently, and we'll have a couple products in the eye category where I'm like, it's like special occasion makeup, right? Same as like when you do a wardrobe declutter. It's like, I'm not gonna get rid of like a dress that I would wear as like a wedding guest, but I'm not going to be like, I wear this all the time, because like I don't. So these are these kind of products. I don't wear them all the time, but when I do use them, I think they're pretty good. They're really solid. But then of these like gel liners, most of them are brown, except for this one from Pixie, which is black. I will probably hold on to this. This is the Endless Silky Eye Pen in the black shade from Pixie. I don't use this that often because, like I said, I don't really wear a black liner that often. But when I do want to do, for example, like a smoked out like black wing or something, it's like the only black gel or pencil eyeliner I have. So it's more, I keep it for a utilitarian purpose, because you can do like a smoked out liner with like a black eyeshadow, but it's just, you know, this is obviously more long lasting. So I will hold on to this for the utility. I've used the other colors of these liners from Pixie, and I do think the formula is nice. So I'll hold on to that one. But these are all like brown gel eyeliners. And to be honest, I would probably just keep these two. And the rest of them, I think, are fine. But because they're all kind of the same thing, and as you can see, I've obviously been testing different brown gel liners because they're a product I really use and enjoy. Of the ones I've tested, I think these are the best. And because I really like these two, I probably don't reach for these anymore now that I have these ones, just being honest. So let me tell you why I really like these two, and then I can kind of just quickly go through these lesser gel liners. Sorry, that feels mean. My favorite gel liner is the Can Make Creamy Touch Liner. I use mine in the dark brown shade. I believe there's like a more medium brown shade, but this is the dark brown. It's just the easiest eyeliner to use. It's so creamy, like you can barely touch it on the skin and you just get the nicest amount of pigment. It's really tiny and fine, so it's really easy to draw like as thin or thick of a line as you want. I love this eyeliner. And I found myself recently, like I got this one after some of these eyeliners, and since I got this one, I feel guilty like ignoring these ones, but I always want to be using this one, right? Like this is my most favorite eyeliner. And then recently I also got this one, which is the Beer Last Auto Gel eyeliner in also the brown shade. And this I also quite like. You also can get a really nice amount of pigment out of it. It's creamy, it's a little bit thicker. Honestly, if you're not me, you probably don't need both. I just feel like I'm about to run out of my Can Make one because I've had it for quite a while and I use it so often. And if I'm gonna have a backup or a secondary one, it's gonna be the Bio one. As you can see there, very similar. If you only need one, if you're just looking for one eyeliner, I would say go with the Can Make. I'm gonna keep two because I obviously have. And then for the other ones, of these three, they're not, only I would say this one is actively not good. This is the Deceique Mood Slim Liner. And I do get some PR from Deceique, but I also do pick things up from Yes Style and whatnot. And this I was keen to try because I really like Deceique products, but this eyeliner is just, it's not great. It looks fine as I'm, you know, sketching it on the back of my hand, but on the eye, this is one that just really drags. So if you put your, you know, eye makeup or your foundation on and then put on your eyeliner, it just can't like go over that, you know, texture, if that makes sense. You really have to work at getting it to go on, and it's just a bit tricky, a bit difficult. I just don't like it, and it's sad because I thought this would be potentially like another option like the Can Make, but yeah, it hasn't worked out for me, and I don't really like this one much at all. So I'm actively not recommending this one. I would say don't get this. Plenty of stuff from Deceique I like. I'm sure we'll talk about it. This is not one of them. And then these two are they're both good, but they're not as nice as the other gel liners. So I'd be like, don't spend your time with them. This is the Clio Extreme Gel Presso Pencil Liner. I will say, I think maybe this one is probably the most like long lasting and waterproof out of all of them. It's good. It does drag a bit more, and the pencil is a bit chunkier than the Can Make one, so you have to like kind of be a little bit more careful about drawing that line so it doesn't look blobby, if you know what I mean. It's solid. I just don't like it as much as the other one. And then this one from Mersey, this is the first gel eyeliner. This one I believe is also quite popular on Yes Style. It's quite an affordable one. This one is a nice charcoal brown color. You can see they're all basically the same color. This one is also one that looked really nice in sketching it on the back of my hand, but again, going onto the eye, like practically on top of other makeup, it just is not as pigmented. You need to be a little bit firmer and like redraw over the area a few times. And again, a bit of a chunkier type of tip. And when such like nice fine tips like the Can Make one exist, I'm like, why am I, you know, trying to be really precise with like a chunky liner? These two aren't bad. I'm sure some of you have probably used them and really like them. I have used them and liked them, but I would say these two, but mostly specifically the Can Make, is my favorite eyeliner, gel liner that I have used to date. I just think it's the best. So I don't feel the need to have 4 things that are very similar, but you know, 1 or 2 that I actually really like using. So I'm going to declutter these and pass these on and then keep these guys. So there we have eyeliners. I am keeping these ones, although it's just these 2 that are really my daily drivers. And then these are kind of more like alternate scenarios. I mean, these 2 are glitters. You could always like take these out and count them as part of a different category, but you know, That's these ones here. And then these ones I am decluttering. That feels nice. I feel like that will look a lot less chaotic in my drawer. Okay, now we come to, I think everything here is a brow product. Actually, no, sorry. There's a random white eyeliner here. This is the Fascinating Eye Kohl from MAC. It is my white eyeliner that I use, again, not very often, but on occasion. So we'll be keeping that. Don't know how that got there. The rest of these, oh no, sorry. This is my Colourpop Freckle Pen. I actually love the Colourpop Freckle Pen. I use it quite a bit actually, and it's just lasted and lasted. And if I run out of it, I would probably get it again because it's just really great. It's a great color for me. I do have some freckles, but not that many. But this looks not super weird on me, I think, unless everyone's lying to me. But yeah, really like the Colourpop Freckle Pen. Again, not a brow product, so we'll be removing it from this section. Okay, I also have a white eyeliner from Rem Beauty. I will figure it out later if I need both of those white eyeliners. Okay, now we have all just brow products, but here we have pencils and then we have gels. So let's chat through them. We have 4 gels here. This one I just got. It's the Laka Wild Brow Shaper. So I'm literally just got this like a week ago. I'm still testing it, so I'm gonna be holding on to this one. This brow gel from MCO Beauty is the Extend Brows Treatment Gel Clear. I have used this up. I finished it because I had it. It's fine. I would say my favorite brow gel I've ever used is the Anastasia one, but this one also was, you know, worked, but I don't feel particularly passionate about it, but it's empty now, so it's gonna go. Then I have a couple of tinted brow gels. This one from Deja Vu, it is their eyebrow color. This color is just the wrong color for me. It's like too warm, so every time I used it, it was just very like stark on my face. So unfortunately I have not had much use out of this one, so I am going to declutter it. It's just not the right product for me. And this one I'm going to keep. It is the Revlon Color Stay Brow Fiber Filler. This is the right color for me. It's just a nice like soft brown shade. The Deja Vu one is like really opaque, so it like really looks starkly wrong, whereas this is more of like a tinted brow gel and just adds a little bit of extra fullness, which I don't really need. If I'm being honest, I have pretty full brows, but sometimes I'll just brush this through in my brows to just give them, you know, a little bit more of a filled kind of done look, rather than doing like pencil and gel like I would normally do. But I do think it's a solid product, and if you are looking for more that fullness, then you would probably enjoy this. And then this I have a mixed feelings about. So this is the Anastasia Brow Freeze Gel. My favorite brow gel that I've tried is just the normal Anastasia brow gel. This is like the Brow Freeze, so it's like their laminated brow gel, that kind of vibe. So it is more like crispy and a little bit more liquidy to kind of use. So it really works like before it sets. You can really like sculpt your brows into more of that like laminated, like flattened look, which is cool. Like it really does do a good job of freezing, like it says, but it's also a bit more tricky to use because of that. You just have to be a bit more careful. So basically I think this is a good brow gel. It's just not like very low maintenance. It's a bit more of like a medium to high maintenance brow gel, and I'm going to keep using it because it does have a really good hold to it. It's just like a little finicky. But yeah, these are the brow gels that I will be keeping. And then brow pencils, I have these 4, and of the 4 of them, I'm going to keep these 2 and declutter these 2. This one here is like, you can't see, but it's like completely fallen apart. This had like a spoolie and it's just fully come off. This is the Mood brow pencil. It's pretty much entirely used up now and also like decrepit. It was fine. I probably wouldn't repurchase it. It was just okay. And then this one is from Cezanne. It is the Super Slim Eyebrow, and I've actually used this up. It's like a retractable pencil that you can wind up and wind down. It doesn't have a cap, which is a little, you have to be careful. Like I wouldn't put this in a makeup bag in case you know, accidentally wound it and you marked the inside of it, but pretty cool like product design. I got it in the shade 5. It was just slightly too gray black, not enough brown, but it was solid. You know, it was pretty good. Obviously I used it up to the end, so it can't have been that bad. And then I'm holding on to these 2. This is the Romand All Flat Brow in the shade Grace Taupe. I would say Grace Taupe from Romand in their brow product range is the best shade for my eyebrows. The All Flat Brow is great for just shading in your brows, like with a bit of a soft shade and kind of creating more of that shape, whereas the skinny brow pencil they have is my preferred product, but it keeps being out of stock everywhere. And then this one is from Espoir. It is the brow pencil in the shade Ash Brown number 4. This is pretty good. Obviously it has a pretty funky shape to it. The shade of this one isn't as good as the Romand shade, but it's still pretty good, and I would just generally recommend this as a brow pencil because it's like a nice design, nice ergonomic to hold, nice shape for the tip, and all of that. So yeah, these are the brow pencils, and it's also my only skinny brow pencil at the moment. So I'm rocking with these two right now. So for brows, I am decluttering these and holding on to these. I apologize for the lack of like enthusiasm. It's a utilitarian category for me. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. Oh, that drawer is gonna look so much less stressful with just the products that I am enjoying and using. And now we come to what I guess is like the fun portion of this drawer, which is eyeshadows, including all of the fun like glitters and things. I think eyeshadow palettes will be the trickiest to make decisions on. So let's start with something a bit more manageable. Let's do like individual eyeshadow, like, or mini palettes and things. Okay, we've got a cutesy little collection here. Basically anything that's like an eyeshadow quad or smaller. We'll tackle the glitter liners first. I love glitter eyeliners, and I kind of go through phases with them. Like, I hadn't been wearing them until kind of somewhat recently, and then I wore the glitter eyeliner again, and then I like got so many compliments on my eye makeup, and everyone was like, wow, like your makeup looks so pretty. And I was like, damn. And I'm looking at these and I'm like, I don't know if I want to get rid of any of them. This is the best liquid liner I have ever used. It's iconic. You can go back through my Makeup Declutter videos and I will sing the praises of this every time. This is the 3CE Eye Switch in the shade Double Note. It has the perfect mix of like little baby glitters and then like big chunky like hexagonal glitters. It just sits perfectly on your eyes. It doesn't move, but it doesn't feel like itchy or anything. I love this eyeliner. So beautiful. And I have this one from Mood, and really they are basically the same, but the 3CE one still, it's just a bit better. The thing is, the 3CE one, this one's really old. Like, it's really old. Probably shouldn't be using it around my eyes, but I'm like, it's fine. It's just me who uses it. And I used it again recently and it was literally fine. I'm tempted to keep all of them, but I think I'm just gonna keep this one from Peri Peri. It's the Sugar Twinkle glitter. Compared to the 3CE one, you can kind of see it's more of like a soft baby pink, but it's still like that icy iridescent rainbow glitter, just like a different shade and a bit of a different, yeah, it's like a different shade. And then these two, while I do love them, they are more like peachy golden. This is the 3CE glitter in the shade Petal, and this is one of the Flower Nose like sparkle shadows from the Swan Ballet collection. They're both really gorgeous. I just know that I don't really reach for these because they have this really strong, and it's kind of hard to see on camera, but they both have like a strong, I would say like a yellow reflect that I don't particularly love. I do have, and we'll see in a second, I do have like a glitter palette that does have like a range of different glitters. So if I was going to use like a peachy or more like warm tone glitter, I have enough in that palette that I don't need to also have these glitter liners that I don't really reach for. But I'm going to keep these two and declutter these two. Okay. I'm actually low-key like surprised that I managed to declutter some of those because I did start that video clip being like, and I think we'll just keep all of them and we'll just move on. But then I was like, okay, no, let's actually sit with it. But yeah, let's forge on. Let's keep the good vibes going. So here I have my little individual shadows and a couple of quads. And I am actually going to keep both of these two quads. I think they're quite cute. Unfortunately, this one from Romand is a bit like broken. I did drop it at one point, so it doesn't like click shut properly. So it's not one that I really take traveling anymore, which is sad because it's like a quad. It's like the perfect thing to take traveling. This is the Better Than Eyes music series in the shade 02, which is just like a nice cool toned neutral brown with this lovely like champagne-y silver glitter. This is just a great neutral brown palette. I would definitely recommend Romand eyeshadows and like quads as like beginner makeup, or if you want to get it for like, you know, a teen or someone who's like just getting into makeup. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. I really like it. And this one is another product of a beauty tourism. It is from the Japanese brand Excel, which I picked up on my last trip to Japan. And I've actually used this quite a few times recently, and I've popped it on and I've been like, wow, it looks so nice. It really highlights like brown or like hazel eyes with the sort of purpley tones to it, but it's not so like smoky that it is like too overwhelming. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of some of those like Tom Ford or like other luxury brand like quads where they all have that like slight satiny sheen to them. I think it's like a nice little quad of colors, and my eyeshadow always turns out looking pretty cute when I use this. So I'm keeping this one. And then I have these guys here. These two are my individual glitter shadows from Addiction Tokyo. I love these. I need to use them more because I love them so much. But I've had the pink one for years, and I loved it so much that like the last time I went to Japan, I was like, I need to pick up the silver one because I love this one so much. You can kind of see on my finger, it's like a jelly sparkle shadow. Can you see that? Sort of. It's like a micro shimmer glitter sheen jelly. I don't know how to describe it, but it's beautiful and I love it. And then the silver one is extremely similar, but it's like an icy silver instead of like a cool toned sheer pink. It's not like metallic at all, and it almost has like a clear jelly base. So it doesn't have any like shimmer in it like a normal eyeshadow. It's like a shadow topper, and it doesn't show up well on camera, but in person, they're just really beautiful, like fairy princess eyeshadows. And I think they're so pretty. And just like looking at them in real life, like on my fingers and on my palm, I'm like, wow, these are so pretty. I should use these all the time because they're gorgeous. So keeping both of these. And it comes with the bonus that they remind me of my trips to Tokyo. Dual purpose beauty product, but also like souvenir. And then this shadow stack from Kaja. This is their Eye Beauty Bento in the shade Rosewater. I thought I would use this more than I do, and I just don't reach for it. And I think the reason is because the shimmers in these are pretty, but they're not like prettier than other shimmers I have that are kind of the same color but nicer. And of the 3 shades, I would say I only go for the middle one and the top one that are like the more light shimmery colors. And the bottom shade, which is this like plummy kind of sparkle, every time I intend to use it, like I swatch it on my palm just to check like the shade, and every time I swatch it on my hand, I'm like, oh no, it's too dark, like it's too smoky. So I never use the bottom shade. And I used this again recently, and I was just like, oh, it's kind of not, like I thought my makeup looked okay, but I didn't think it looked particularly special. And I was like, oh, I wish I just used, these like addiction toppers that have a bit more of that special sparkle to them. I thought I was going to use it more than I did. I love the packaging design and I love the idea of them and how compact it is, but I just, in practice, I don't go for it. So I am going to declutter it. So for our individual eye products, this is what I am keeping and this is what I am decluttering. Alrighty, here are all of my eyeshadow palettes. I realize it's looking pretty pink in frame here, and that's because a lot of them are pink. That's because that's what the situation is. I have my mind quite made up about some of these, and then there are a couple where I'm a bit on the fence. So let's just get straight into it. That was said with real conviction. So this is the aforementioned glitter palette. It is the Romanda Better Than palette, Light and Glitter Garden. I am going to hold on to this one, but instead of keeping it with my eyeshadow palettes, I think I'm going to move it to like where I keep my glitters and stuff. But as you can see, it has like peachy and like golden glitters. It has a little bit of everything. So that's why I was like, okay, I don't really need these like peachy golden eyeliner, like glitter eyeliners, because I have all of the glitter shades I need here. If you want an all-in-one glitter palette with like kind of a bunch of different glitter shades, this one is great. And I do reach for this as regularly as one would for a glitter palette. It's a great utilitarian product to have, so I'm going to hold on to this one. Then these 4 palettes I am going to keep. This one is the Holika Ripe Berries palette. It has a really nice, as you can see, they are like berry toned, like neutral shades. I've gotten quite a lot of use out of this palette. I think it's really nice quality. Shadows, I like the size and layout of it. Like this size just feels really nice and compact, but also like the space is well utilized. Like I kind of rotate through these 4 as my like daily kind of palettes every time I do my eyeshadow makeup. So this one and then this stack here are the ones that I reach for every time I do my makeup. Then this one from Deceek. How cute is this palette with like the icy blue packaging and the little pops of blue and green. The colors are like a really soft, almost like milky watercolory type of pastel. It's not like a super pigmented palette, but all of the colors do pair really well together and they just work for the type of makeup I do, which is pretty soft and watercolory. Like I am not really like an Instagram glam baddie. I do like doing more like minimal and soft makeup looks generally, but especially on my eye, I don't really tend to do anything too dramatic, and I have surprisingly liked this palette. And again, same layout where it's like more compact with lots of different shades. And then these 2, and I'm trying to hold this one. And then this one here from Romand. This one
the lid is like also wonky and broken. I don't know how it keeps happening. It's probably because I've had the Remand eye palettes like for the longest, so I've had more opportunity to drop them, and I have. But this is the Better Than palette in the shade Peony Nude Garden. I would say if you're looking for a like neutral to cool toned pinky eyeshadow palette, like this is the one for you. Just a mix of brown and pinky tone shades, and then going from light all the way down to like basically like a liner color. It just has like everything you need. Like these palettes from Remand, I obviously like this one, but they have other shades which are like warmer, more peachy, more plummy, darker. All of these are just like such well thought out eyeshadow palettes. They're so great. So I'm gonna keep this one as long as it continues to hold on and not break any further. But I have gotten so much wear out of this one, and every time I use it again, I am like, wow, yeah, this still really hits. It's a really good eyeshadow palette. And then this is my new and unexpected love from Clio. It is the Pro Eye Palette Air in the shade Pink Pairing. Again, like the Remand ones, I would say it's very similar to the Remand ones where they have this sort of palette set up and in a bunch of different tones and shades. But this formula, I would say, is quite impressive. It's quite pigmented and creamy. Not like overly so, where it's like a little bit, you know, difficult to use, but I have definitely noticed this compared to maybe the Remand one is a bit more pigmented, and maybe that's why they've called it the Pro Eye Palette. I would say like these two are extremely similar. Like I wouldn't be like, you should go out and buy both of these because they do different things. I have the two of them and I like both of them, so I'm gonna hold on to them. But this one I'm really impressed with, and I think the clear like packaging is super cute. I think some of the other Korean shadows, especially like the Desique ones, they are lower in pigment, so they look more like watercolory and it's just like a wash of color. Whereas this reminds me of like some of the, you know, Anastasia Beverly Hills or like Natasha Denona shadows. Like they're more, yeah, pigmented, noticeable. I don't know, but I really like these ones, so I'm gonna keep this one as well. And now, in something I wasn't expecting, and don't mind the lighting, and the sun is about to go down, so I apologize if this looks a little cool toned and a little spooky with the shadows on my hand. This is the Natasha Denona Retro palette. I had this on my wish list for the longest time. It was like a toss up between this or the Love palette from Natasha Denona. I just thought they looked so beautiful. Every time I saw these in stores, I went to swatch them and play with them. And I had it on my wish list for the longest time. And I was like, these formulas look really beautiful. I really want to have one of these palettes. I'm gonna be real, I have not used this that much. It's such a beautiful palette, but I just do not reach for it. And I will say, I think the reason is because even though this is like a beautiful pinky tone palette, like some of the other ones I have shown you, a lot of these shades are on the more like medium to dark side, and they're more like smoky. And also some of these you can kind of see do lean on like the warmer side. The way I've been doing my makeup for like the last couple of years, I don't do a lot of like smoky eye looks, and I tend to go for like more lighter tone shades. Like I just tend to do 1 to 2 light shades on my eye, and then like a bit of a, you know, emphasis with some eyeliner, but I don't tend to do smoky eyes. I don't gravitate towards them. But it's a declutter. I want to be honest with you, because I think I'm pretty good at picking things that I think will work for me, or, you know, I'm trying things knowing they may not work for me. But this was something that I was like convinced. I was like, this is going to be for me. I'm going to use this and it's going to be such a good use of my money. And I just haven't really used it. And I just think it's sad. And it makes me feel bad because I really bought it thinking, you know, I was really going to use them, but I just haven't. And I just wanted to be honest with you guys. I'm pretty good at picking things for my preferences when I, you know, obviously I get gifted things a lot of the time, so I don't necessarily get to choose things that I'm gifted. But in terms of like going out and buying things for myself, I feel like I generally pick things pretty well. But this just was not a good pick for me, unfortunately. So I just haven't used it. And so I do think I am going to declutter it because I just don't use it. And I know someone else, like one of my friends or family members, like they all get so much more use out of this and so much more joy. Whereas when I look at it, I'm just like, oh, I feel bad. Like I should be using this, but I'm just not. And I just know that I won't practically reach for these shades. I think it was like around my birthday or something when I purchased this, and I was thinking to myself, like, I'm going to treat myself. Like it's been on my wish list. And it was just a rare instance where I'm like, it should have stayed on the wish list or been deleted from the wish list. And I am sad because I do love that creamy pink shade, but I'm not going to depot it because like, then that's not nice for whoever can obviously use this cat palette that's in great condition. So I feel bad about it, but I just wanted to share that because it just was, it's never a great feeling, like, you know, buying something and then being like, okay, like maybe that actually wasn't the best use of my money, but sometimes we make mistakes and this was one of them. And that's not anything to do with the quality of the product. It's just like the type of product it is. Like all the colors are just not colors that I reach for. So
very sad, but I do have to declutter it. I'm not using it to its fullest extent. And then this one, I'm not decluttering, but I also don't use it that often. This is the Modern Renaissance palette, but it's like so well used and loved from when I bought it like years ago. It would be like like 2017, something like that, a really long time ago. I got so much use out of this. I still do occasionally dip into this like pinky champagne shimmery shade. It's so beautiful. But a lot of these shades are quite warm, like these cranberries and plums. And again, I just don't really go for them. But I think I'm just gonna hold on to it for like memories. And I'm just saying that because it's extremely rare of me to do that. I don't keep a lot of makeup for the sake of like archiving or like memories. I am very much a person who's like, okay, like let's declutter, like let's clear it out. But this one, I don't know. I am a bit nostalgic for. This was when I was like really getting into makeup. I got this like on a trip with my family. So I am gonna hold on to this one because I don't think it's in a state where I can like declutter this and have someone be like, wow, what a beautiful eyeshadow palette to use. Like it's old, it's crusty. The only person who can really get use and enjoyment out of it is me. So I am gonna hold on to it, but I'm just moving it into the like special occasion drawer. But yeah, I will no longer be including this in my regular rotation because I do not regularly use this by any means. And then last but not least are my Flower Nose eyeshadow palettes. And I will say Flower Nose are very sweet. They send me PR so I can make videos reviewing new collections for all of you. I really like a lot of their products, but I also don't choose like what gets sent, such as the nature of PR. Sometimes you can pick things, but oftentimes you can't. So sometimes I'm sent things that I wouldn't potentially pick out myself, but for the purposes of reviewing, obviously it's helpful to show you things. But this eyeshadow palette is a great example of one of those. I thought I would maybe get some more use out of it, but just in practicality, like it's a green eyeshadow palette with like a gold iridescent sort of shade. There is like a peachy shade, but it's on the warmer side. This is just not an eyeshadow palette that I really reach for. I do think it's nice quality. I think it's quite cute. I think it looked pretty good in the video where I used it, and like that review, I still am like stand by. I think it's a lovely palette, but just practically, I'm not going to get a lot of use out of it. And I, you know, have some friends and family who would be much more likely to use this on a regular basis, and they would get, you know, a lot more enjoyment out of. So I've only really used this like a couple of times, if that. So I am going to declutter this and pass it on. And then these two, it's kind of a toss up. They're both neutral palettes and they're both quite similar formulas. This one is from the Strawberry Rococo collection and it's the Black Currant Cold Brew palette. And this one is from the Mermaid series and it's the Celestial Castle palette. You can see they're both neutral ones, but this one is like a bit more of like a tawny kind of neutral. Like there's a slight peachiness to it. And then this one is more of your like cool toned, like smoky neutral. I just think that I don't need them both and I'm not practically going to reach for them both. I think I'm going to hold on to this one. This is actually the first Flower Nose eyeshadow palette that I got. And also I think it's the most unique because it's like a really gray toned, like cool toned eyeshadow palette, and it's more unique to what I have in my collection compared to this one, which has some pinky tones, but I prefer the pinky tones of the other shadow palettes. I think you can probably tell through this video, which I'm sure by this point has been quite lengthy, I'm just not someone who likes to have a lot of stuff for the sake of like having a lot of it and having a collection. I'm lucky to have, you know, access to a lot of product and to get gifted beautiful things and test and try them. But beyond testing and trying them and kind of giving a review and being helpful in that way, I don't like to see them just sitting in my drawer, and I would rather them go to a loving home. So I'm going to keep this one, and even though the packaging of this one is like so stunning, like this packaging is gorgeous, I am going to declutter it and just keep the one, because the formulas and the setup of these palettes is virtually like it's the same, so I don't need both. I'll keep this one, declutter this one. So then these are the eyeshadow palettes I am decluttering, and it's sad because they all look so cute together, but I am going to pass these ones on, and then these are the ones that I am going to keep. And with that is the eye drawer. We are 3/4 of the way through. The only thing left to do is lips, which will be a mission, but a mission that will be worth our time. But feels good to have the eye drawer done, even though like the sun is like fully setting behind me, but I just wanted to knock it out. Okie dokie, we are on the final drawer, the final stretch for this declutter. I'm so excited. So let's jump into it. This is all things lips. Lipstick, lip liner, lip gloss, lip tints, lip stuff. Yep, you get it. I get it. let's get it together. I'm so cool. Let's start with lip liners because I kind of didn't think I had that many, but then I was like, oh, actually there's a few here. And I actually think I can pretty easily split this into keeps, and for a lot of these, it's because they are the only color of lip liner that I have, if that makes sense. And this category, I think I can do actually very easily and quickly, and I'm just going to split them into keeps and not keeps because I think I'm pretty clear on what those are gonna be. Okie dokie, ready to go. So these lip liners here are all going to be keeps, and then these 4 here are going to be decluttered. And with these 4 here, I actually don't mind the formula of any of these. It's just the color. I think most of these I was not able to like test or swatch before I tried them. So I was going off, you know, swatches online and recommendations, and they ultimately didn't work for me. But yeah, none of these have done really anything wrong per se. It's just they are not a good color for me personally. So these ones are going to be decluttered. And then for the ones that I am keeping, a couple of them, like this Kiko lip pencil, this is like my only red lip liner. It's a solid lip pencil, but I wouldn't, you know, write home about it or shout it from the rooftops, but it is my only red lip liner, so I'm gonna hold on to it. And then to just quickly go through a couple of highlights. These two, I don't wanna like really shout out to you that much, not because I'm trying to gatekeep, but because I don't think they make them anymore. It's the Urban Decay 24/7 lip liner in the shade Native, and the MAC Pro Longwear lip pencil in the shade Posy Perfect. These are both really beautiful, cooler toned pink shades, and I love these both a lot and have used them a lot, as you can see by the fact that they're quite a bit shorter than some of my other lip liners. But I am holding on to them also for the purpose of like I can use it to swatch next to other ones and find good replacements. But I'm also trying to find ones that are available that I can recommend to you. So I will move these out of the way. I know everyone likes the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk, but it took me a while to come around to it because when I would swatch the Pillow Talk lip liner in the original shade, I found it was a bit more of that like nudie brown kind of color on me. But this one in the shade Fair, Pillow Talk Fair, sorry, is a really beautiful pinky toned nude with more of like a mauvey undertone. So would definitely recommend this one. I feel like this one is a favorite of many people, but the Fair shade, yeah, has been a recent discovery and I've been really enjoying it. And then I actually have 2 of these. The other one is in my handbag, which you can probably tell means that I am using it quite frequently. The Romand Lip Mate pencils. I love these. I think they're great. This shade is 02 Dovey Pink, but I mostly use the shade 04 Fig Breeze. Both really nice, cool toned lip liners, but they do also have other shades in this range that are more warm toned, and they're just really nice liners. And they have like a bit of a blurring sort of effect to them. So if you find that sometimes lip liner can look a little harsh on you and very like liney, these you can like blend out really nicely. And I have like a double lip line. So like the pigment on my lips kind of stops, but I still have like lip fullness. So this works perfectly for that. And then these 2 I don't use as often. This is the Revlon Color Stay Longwear Lip Liner. Again, the Revlon team really kindly sent me across some selections. I did declutter this in another shade, which is like a nudie brown. And by declutter, I mean I'm gonna pass it on to some friends and family. But this is a really lovely drugstore liner option. I would say this is probably as warm as I like to go with my lip liners. But yeah, that one is a nice one, nice and creamy, easy to use, nice thin pencil. And then I also have this from Rem Beauty, which is their lip stain marker. I don't use this one as often, but I've been reaching for it recently because it's quite nice to just like tint my lips and put under a gloss. And it's a little bit more of like a berry sort of tone. And in the cooler weather, I tend to go for more of those like bitten berry colors. So yeah, these are all the lip liners I'm keeping. These are the lip liners I am decluttering, and these just sit in like a little cup inside my drawer. So yeah. Okay, I just wanted to give you a visual of what we're dealing with because I'm trying to figure out the best way to tackle going through them. I think it's going to be by formula. I think similar to cheeks, like blush, I would say the lip category is my most favorite. I love rotating different lip colors and trying different things. I obviously have some favorites and then some which are reached for less often but still loved. And then looking in here, I do have some where I'm like, yeah, it's been a hot second, I haven't really reached for you. So let's go through it, and I think I'm gonna go by formula. Okay, starting out with tinted lip balms. There's only 3 here. I have some that are like balmy lipsticks, but I would say they fit more into the lipstick category than they do into like the balm category. And then I obviously have clear lip balms, but those are more kind of like skincare things. So these are like the 3 tinted lip balms that aren't so tinted that they're basically lipsticks. First up is this one from Mecca Cosmetica, and I have had this for like a really long time. But I'll be honest, I mostly just throw this in like my gym bag. It is probably not long for this world, but I wouldn't pass this on to anyone or declutter this one. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. This one also is pretty old. This is from Fresh in the rose as well. I do like really rosy shades. This I don't think I will keep. I think I will declutter. This one is like, I don't know how old it is. I want to say it's like over, I'm not going to say. I'm not entirely sure, but it's pretty old. All the writing has been rubbed off. And the actual bullet itself has like come loose and is waggling around. I might declutter this one. The formula as well has gone a little funky. I think it's at the end of its lifespan. And then this one was such a surprise. This is from Kiko. It is their lip balm, just their color lip balm in the shade 04 Tutti Frutti. Kiko is I would say like an affordable brand based out of Italy. And I picked this up when I was in Italy for a week last year. And I didn't have anything particular like on my wish list to buy from Kiko, but I just went into the store that was around where I was walking, and I just thought this was a really delightful little lip balm, and I've worn it quite a lot. And it's just a really nice sheer pinky lip balm, and it smells like raspberry children's multivitamins, which I ate as a child. So there's like a nostalgic scent to it. Anyway, I like this lip balm, so I'll keep this one, probably keep this one, and declutter this one. And that's my 3 tinted lip balm. Okay, well, for a girl who says she does not like matte liquid lipsticks, I somehow have this many, which is weird because I feel like I decluttered quite a few of them last time we did this video concept, but I can tell you where some of these have come from. I did do a video a couple of months back now, which was testing the like top 10 best-selling lip tints, and some of those lip tints were kind of like matte liquid lipsticks, but just maybe a bit sheerer or in like a tint style. So as a result, I have a few tints which are, to me, basically the same as liquid lipsticks. And a couple of bits I got in PR, I think, as well. That's how we've ended up here, because this is definitely the category I reach for least when it comes to lips. I think probably for me, the best thing to do would be to do a little bit of a swatch on my hand, because I probably really only want to keep like one, because while I do prefer some of these formulas, I probably only want like one of each type of shade, because again, I don't really reach for these that often, like as a category at all. I do prefer things that are glossier or like, yeah, basically anything that's not matte. I'm a dry, crusty woman. So I'm gonna like split it up. I'm gonna start over here because these are all like more of your nudie baby pinks, and then these are more of your like berry type shades. As I suspected, you can see with these shades here, some of them are pretty similar. So just to take you through, this one is the Lime Crime Velveteen in the shade Marshmallow. This is the YSL Water Tint. This is the Moonshot Cream Paint. This is the Lime Crime Plushie in the shade Turkey Light. This is the Musage Mansion Object Liquid. And this is the Peri Peri Inky Airy Velvet Tint. Okay, swatching them out on my hand, there are a couple, namely this one here, the Lime Crime one in Marshmallow, where I'm like, I would just not go for this type of shade. It doesn't look particularly flattering, like even looking at my hand. And I do think I've gotten like better at just like spotting on site colors that just are not really for me. I also don't really reach for it. I have been keeping it just because I'm like, oh, it's the only shade I have in my collection like this. And it's like this kind of greigey nudie color. But now I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I think there's maybe a reason I don't reach for it. I'm not mad that I kept it just because I was like, maybe I will, or maybe I won't. So I think we're definitely going to declutter this one. It's also pretty old. Then actually looking at this one here, the kind of dustier shade, this is the Lime Crime Plushie. I will say, by the way, because I feel like it's been some time, Lime Crime did go through a pretty significant controversy like a few years back. I did buy these prior to that and I haven't shopped with them again since that time. I know the brand is under like new management and they've made some changes. I haven't really seen a lot from them as of recently. Like I actually am not sure if they're still running, but I like held on to them because I was like, you know, just because I may not be currently purchasing things from the brand doesn't mean I won't, you know, use things that I kind of already have and own. But I actually went to apply this the other day. I was like going out and I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll do a matte lip, like for a change. And I was like, oh, this shade should be good. And I put it on and it was not great. It did not look nice on my lips. I like ended up removing it and putting on something else. I was like, oh no, that's not the move. I'm not a fan of that. So I did revisit this recently. And yeah, I think I am going to declutter that one. So these two are decluttered and we have these four remaining. I'm definitely keeping this one. This is the Tatouage Couture Matte Stain, but it's basically like a water tint that dries matte, but it's definitely more of, I would say, like a tint stain than like a liquid lipstick. Maybe I should put it in the tint, like the stain category, lip stain, like lip tint category, but it is technically like a matte finish. But they don't make this anymore and it is the most gorgeous baby pink color. And I actually do wear this with like a bit of frequency because I really like it. It just lasts really well and so you can put this underneath, you know, another lipstick or a lip gloss. So I'm keeping this one. I'm a bit torn up about this one. This is the Moonshot Cream Paint. Moonshot, I don't even know if Moonshot are still releasing product. I feel like they may not be, or they've like, you know, sort of sunsetting the brand. So I've had this for at least 5 years, which is kind of crazy. I don't know how I feel about the passage of time. This is a very similar color to this from Peri Pera. And you can't get this one anymore. And this one is still on the market. So I'm like, probably don't need both of them. So as I'm chatting through that, I think I'm gonna keep the Peri Pera one, mainly because I think I will declutter this one. So I'll keep the one that I like. I like this color more than this one, and I'm more likely to wear this one than this one. And I will declutter the Moonshot Cream Paint. And then this is from Musage Mansion. I haven't been particularly drawn to this one. This is like a matte liquid lipstick formula, but other than my like initial testing of this product, I haven't really reached for it. There are a couple of other ones which I'll show you in like other categories. They have a gloss and more of a traditional tint that I do tend to reach for over this one. So I am going to pass this one on to someone else and I will probably keep a couple of the other bits from them. But really cool packaging, like really cool brand. I do try and just keep, again, across the board, whether it's been gifted or I purchase it or something, I do just keep the stuff that I am going to continue to use because that makes sense because I only have one face. Okay, so those were the pink shades. Now let's swatch these guys. Here are these ones swatched and it's pretty much along the way. So we have the Peri Pera Ink Airy Velvet in the shade 13, the Lime Crime Velveteen in the shade Red Velvet, the Etude House Fixing Tint, the Romand Zero Velvet Tint, and then the 3CE, I need to double check. It's in the shade Double Wind. They don't write the like individual product name on the thing, so that's cool. I will put the detail down in the description, but I will say the 3CE lip stain does stain really well, but I just don't love the color. It's a bit more beigey nudie than what I was after. Again, this one was for the lip tint testing videos. This is one of the best sellers on YesStyle. I did my best with trying to pick one of the more cool tone shades, but as I've said previously in the video, 3CE just runs a bit warm kind of across the range. So it's just a little nudie beigey. I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of this one, so I am going to pass it on. Then of these remaining ones, I actually think I know what I'm gonna do, and that is I'm gonna keep these two in the middle, which is a bit random, but I am gonna keep the Lime Crime Velveteen in the shade Red Velvet. I think this is gonna be like the only Lime Crime product I keep in my collection. I think I just had those three. This is like my only red liquid lipstick. So I am gonna hold on to this one, and then I'm also gonna hold on to the Etude House Fixing Tint. This is in the shade 11 Rose Blending. I've previously tried the mauve shade, and again, the shade itself was probably the problem more than the formula, but I was really impressed with this one in the lip tint test that I did. It wears really well, it looks really nice. This is like a really good example of like a modern liquid lipstick, like lip stain tint hybrid, in that the color itself is quite nice as it applies, but it does wear off and leave like a nice colored stain as well. So yeah, I'm gonna keep these two. And then these guys, the Romand Zero Velvet Tint, I just honestly, I don't really reach for this one. The formula of this is very traditional liquid lipsticky, and it's like more of a bold shade, which I don't wear as often. And as I said, I'm kind of like, I probably only need, you know, one variety of each shade. And if I was gonna wear a bold colored liquid lipstick, I'd probably go for the Lime Crime one in the red. And then with the Peri Peri Ink Airy Velvet, as I said before, I am keeping the like pinky shade that I do just slightly prefer to this one. I'm more likely to wear that one than this one. And I'll actually just, they're also, in case you were wondering, doing a little swatch comparison. I say I'm more likely to wear it than this one, but actually like comparing the two, they're really similar shades. Like these two side by side are extremely, extremely similar. Like that and that, that's weird. I'm kind of like, do I actually like this one more than this one? Because it's the same formula. That's the one I was going to keep and that was the one I was going to declutter. But they're very, very similar. Kind of rogue, but I'm actually going to declutter this one and keep this one because looking at these two side by side, they are very similar shades, but I actually just slightly prefer this one. They're about the same level of depth and saturation, but this one is just a bit more on like the watermelon side and this one's a bit more on the like rosy side. I will just double check though, in case one of them is like a limited edition shade that you can't get anymore, in which case I'll probably keep the one that is available. But if they're both available, I'll keep this one and declutter this one. This has been interesting because as we were going through this declutter, I was like, did I really need to do this declutter? I feel like I kind of am not needing to make that many changes or edits. I'm keeping these ones and I'm decluttering these ones. And that feels pretty significant and shows that it was worth me sitting down and kind of swatching things out and looking at them and thinking about them, because yeah, that is a more than 50%. I'm keeping 4 and decluttering 7, which is pretty, yeah, pretty wild, but does kind of make sense given that a bunch of these I got in solely for the purpose of testing for a video, which like I mentioned is kind of the way I am most likely to get in product that I end up not particularly liking or not being, you know, for me per se. But yeah, crazy result. Okie dokie, these are all of my lip glosses and I love all the different packaging and the sparkle and the different shades of pink. I have some which I know I'm definitely going to keep, so I think I'll highlight those and quickly chat through those. And then we'll do like some deliberations. So I just did some shuffling, but all of these lip glosses here, I am definitely keeping. All of these I wear on a pretty regular rotation, like at least once a fortnight, if not more often. I've actually used them quite a bit. There may be a couple of products that I have spoken about a lot before that may not be here, and that may be just because they are living in one of my handbags somewhere. Like I know the Fenty Beauty gloss isn't here. I will say, while I do love that Fenty Beauty gloss, it does leak like crazy. So now it just permanently has to live like on my desk. But in particular for clear sort of glosses, the Maybelline Lifter Gloss, the Romand Glasting Gloss, and the Revlon The Gloss are all really beautiful, nice and shiny, just really nice thick glosses that don't feel too, well, I actually don't mind a bit of stickiness. So if you really don't like stickiness, I would say the Romand one you would probably really like. These two are a bit more on that traditional gloss side, but they have the thickness that really gives you that beautiful high shine and that like lacquered look. This Patrick Tar one, it has like a bit of a gold, like shimmery vibe going on. This is a really beautiful kind of plumping gloss. It has a bit of a minty tingle in it. It just looks really pretty on top of a lip tint or a lip liner. Lancome Juicy Tubes are all around amazing. They're just the most beautiful, super shiny, like Y2K gloss. And then these two are recent additions. This is the Fouille Voluming Gloss and the Romand Gloss. And I have been enjoying them in my rotation. They're kind of new though, so don't have like fully formed opinions yet. But yeah, these ones I'm all definitely keeping and not decluttering. And then we have these guys here. I am definitely decluttering this one, which is a bit sad because it's from Hera, which is a kind of more luxury K-beauty brand. This is a beautiful formula. It's a bit of a plumping formula. It has a really nice gloss to it, but the color, I have tried to work this, but I don't know. I've been so color pilled, you guys. It's not that I can't wear colors, it's just that I choose not to. And I get that other people really like wearing like a full range of colors, and I'm not saying you can't do that. I feel like it is a bit of a debate when it comes to like personal color stuff. I just previously have been like, why do I not feel like this color looks good on me? Like, why can't I get around it? Now I'm like, oh, because it's orange and it makes my teeth look a bit yellow. And so now that I know that, it's kind of hard to turn that switch off. So when I do wear this, I've just tried to make it work. I've tried pairing it with different lip liners and lipsticks and whatnot, but I've put this on. It just looks like kind of an orangey beigey blob on my face. Like it just contrasts in a way that I personally don't enjoy, okay? But the formula itself is really nice. I do actually have another color from the same lip gloss on my wish list in like a lavendery pinky color that looks so stunning. They added more colors to the range, but this one I am going to pass on. Also, these two I've had in my collection. These are like plumping lip balmy glosses. This one is from Ciate. It is their Pump Plump, and this is from Sephora. This is their Care Better Balm. I just find that both of these, like the formulas, I'm not obsessed with, so I will declutter those. And then with these remaining glosses, we need to do a bit of a swatcheroo. I feel like I forget about the flower nose ones because sometimes they're in kind of funky shaped packaging. So they go in like a separate part of my drawer because they don't fit into my dividers as well. And also they have like opaque packaging which doesn't show or indicate the color of the product itself, which I'm a big fan of it. Like obviously this Lancome one, this is the gloss inside, and you can see there's like a pink glittery shade. It's a clear tube, right? So you know that that's the color of the gloss, and wow, that is a pretty gloss. I haven't reached for it that much, a relatively new addition, but that is so pretty and I will be holding on to it. But these ones, just because they are like, it's not a lilac gloss, it's like a nudie kind of color. So I'm just gonna swatch these. Whoa, I don't remember that being that brown. Okay, these are all swatched from like in the order that they are underneath. So we have the Flower Nose Unicorn Gloss, the Flower Nose Midsummer Fairy Tale Gloss, the Flower Nose Mermaid Jewelry Gloss, like oil tint, and then the Etude House Gloss. I didn't think I was gonna declutter this Etude House one. It's just like a really great shiny gloss. I need to double check how old this BT dubs regarding like expiry date and stuff. Ultimately, if it smells good, it looks good, it feels good. I've said this already in the video, I will keep it. But with liquid products, I'm just a little more cautious compared to like eyeshadows or powders generally, because powders, they don't really have as much moisture, so they can't harbor bacteria, whereas like lip products, they're pretty wet generally, so they can be a little bit more sus. But these Etude House Cherry Moisture lip glows or lip glosses, I don't know, they occasionally I think rename these, but if they still have these, this is a great affordable lip gloss. It is so wet and shiny, stays really well on the lips but doesn't feel thick. Great lip gloss, and I think the swatch looks pretty nice and shiny, and it's a nice, it's not too pigmented, it's nicely sheer, so I'm gonna hold on to this one because I do really like it and am very fond of it. And then of the three Flower Nose ones, I'm gonna keep these two in the middle here. This one is like a really sheer nude gloss, like there's barely a hint of color to it. And then this one is a really lovely like oily shiny kind of vibe. You can see there the shine on that one. It's very similar to the shine of the Etude House one, and I love me a glossy gloss. And then of the Flower Nose ones, I'm gonna keep these two. This one is really sheer, it barely has any kind of pigment to it, but it's a really nice sheer nude gloss, and it's quite different to anything I have actually. Like I have pink glosses and I have clear glosses, but I don't have like a super sheer nude, so I'm gonna hold on to that one. And I'm also going to keep the Mermaid Jewelry one because I haven't swatched it in a hot minute. And again, this is why I like doing these declutters, and I encourage everyone to do them as well for themselves. Like just sit down with your makeup and just shop what you have and have a little play, because that actually has a really beautiful like a glittery shimmer running through it. And I think it's really pretty and pairs well with a lot of other lip colors I have. And then this one, while I do think the formula is nice, that is quite a like brownie type of shade that, if I'm being honest, I just don't really tend to go for or wear. So I'm going to declutter this one and keep these two. Okay, so lip glosses, these ones I am keeping, these ones I am decluttering. Nowhere near as crazy as the matte liquid lipstick category, but that makes sense because I actually really like wearing lip gloss and I wear it most times, if not every time that I do my makeup. And some of these I'm getting quite low on as well. So I want to kind of pan and finish those ones. But looking at all of these, I'm like, yeah, I would use all of these at different occasions for different reasons. So keeping these, decluttering these. They almost don't all fit into frame, but these are my lipsticks, or like sticky sticks. That was not eloquent at all. You know what I mean? Like lipstick slash like lipstick adjacent formulas. And I think with this, the best way is I'm going to pick out some of the ones that I am definitely keeping, and then we'll kind of go through the maybes. Okay, so these here are my most favorite lipsticks, the lipsticks I reach for most often or am quite fond of. Maybe have like a little bit of a sentimental aspect to them where I just know I don't want to declutter them. Super quickly going through them because I have spoken about all of these, I think, in previous declutters. This lipstick is so old. I think it's from like my first trip to Japan, which is a really long time ago, but again, formula's still good, doesn't smell bad, nothing's wrong with it. This is the Candy Doll lipstick and it's just like the perfect like nude pink. I wear it and every time I wear it, I'm like, yep, so keeping this one. These I have spoken about a lot. These are the Jill Stewart Lip Blossoms. They are a Japanese makeup brand. I have 3 different colors. I have like a baby pink, a sort of violet-y color, and then a coral. And I didn't expect them to all be in that order when I opened them. But I have worn all 3 of these a lot and regularly reach for them. They're kind of my go-to because they have, and I'll just swatch this one, such a beautiful, like glossy formula. And they're a little bit sheer, but you can still like build up the color. This is the lightest one in the shade 42, Mellow Rose. But the kind of purpley color and the more like pinky coral color, I wear both of these a lot as well. And yeah, they're just so beautiful and they're hard to get. You can't get them in Australia. I think you can maybe get them on YesStyle now, but they are like an Asian exclusive makeup brand. And I just love them. I think the packaging is a bit over the top, but it's still really cute and princessy. It's like Barbie makeup. Yeah, I love these lipsticks. I think they're just the best. Then a couple of fancy lipsticks. I have this Chanel lipstick, which was a gift quite a long time ago. There's a bit of a sentimental thing with this one. And they don't make this range or color anymore. And then this one from YSL is the Rouge Volupte Shine. And this is just a sheer cotton candy baby pink that is really glossy. It's quite bright when I pop it on. I feel like you are probably seeing a trend in case you didn't already know. Sheer glossy is very much my fave. And then this one from MAC, also discontinued, is the, I think it's discontinued, I haven't seen it around. It's the Cream Sheen in the shade Peach Blossom. And this is just also a really beautiful nude pink and a go-to that I will always pop in my handbag if I don't know what I want to put on that day. So you can kind of see all different like sheer, shiny nude pinks. So I'm not really an unpredictable person. And now let's go through the rest, starting with some matte shades, because as you know from the video, if you've been playing along at home, I'm not a big matte gal. So I'm just gonna quickly go through. These are like the 4 matte lipsticks that I have. These 2 are from Romand, and I actually really like their matte lipstick formula. I'm definitely keeping this pink shade. I really like this one. This is in the shade number 10. And then I have this one, which is like a darker kind of red shade, almost like a plum red. And this is in number 15. This one from Musage Mansion is a kind of cool toned pink. And then this little guy is from Surratt, and this is like a red. It's actually kind of more of like a lip pencil, but yeah, it's a lipstick as well. And it's a really gorgeous crimson matte, and it's a really beautiful formula too. Looking at these 4, these 2 pink shades are quite different. So this one and this one. And I really like the Romand one, and the Musage Mansion one I haven't used that much, but I do think the color is pretty. And again, post declutter, I tend to and reacquainting myself with everything and kind of narrowing everything down, I tend to have less options. And so I tend to experiment more. So I think I'm gonna hold on to this one and see if I do use it over the next period of time. And then of the 2 reds, they are different, like they're not the same color, but if I'm being honest, I will probably keep the Surratt Beauty one and declutter the Romand one. I already have this lipstick in, one color, like this formula, I suppose. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this one, declutter this one. Then while we're on it, let's just do, I think, a couple of the other deeper shades. So this is from Rodin, and I don't think they make these lipsticks anymore, or I don't even know if this brand is still around, but I got it as free product when I worked in beauty retail. And this particular shade is called Loving Lucy, which is obviously my name. And it's this really nice, pretty satiny red color. And I don't reach for brighter colors as often, but it does have my name. It's a really pretty color. I think I'm gonna hold on to it I may change my mind, but I think I am going to hold on to it. It's like every time I swatch it, I'm just like, wow, it's like so beautiful. And maybe I just need to wear bright colors more often. It's just that I mostly wear them for like special occasions rather than like casually, just because they're like a bit more maintenance and they're a bit more fussy. But then I put them on and I'm like, wow, that's really beautiful. So I'm gonna hold on to it and I'm gonna try and make an effort to wear it, and we'll just see how we go. And then I have 3 of these Hourglass Confessions lipsticks. I think they still have these. I think I've seen them. I know they have the gloss sticks now as well, like the Phantom Balms, I think they're called. But let's swatch these 2, which are the like darker shades. This is in the shade I Can't Live Without, and this is the shade At Night. And this shade was so popular when I worked in beauty retail. It was like the bestseller. The reason why this was popular when I worked in beauty retail was because of Xiaohongshu, which is like the Chinese beauty app. I'm sure you guys are probably a bit more familiar with Xiaohongshu or Little Red Book since the like TikTok ban and all that jazz. But this was really popular. People wear it obviously opaque all over the lip, but they would also do like a gradient lip. It was a really, really popular color on Chinese social media. And when I worked in the store, because I speak a little bit of Mandarin, I would be chatting to like international customers and they would always be like showing me screenshots and I'd be like, oh, I know exactly what color you want. And before I left that retailer, I was like, I should buy this because like I sort of was influenced by all the customers. But I don't know if I use it. I'm looking at this color, which is I Can't Live Without, and I'm like, that's much more of a me type of color. Like they're very similar. I don't feel like I need them both. So I am gonna declutter At Night, and I'm gonna hold on to I Can't Live Without. I think I'm gonna hold on to it. So decluttering one, keeping the other. And then I think the only other kind of like deep-ish shade, but I wouldn't even say it's deep, is this from Bobbi Brown. It's the Crushed Lip color in the shade Cali Rose. And I'll swatch this here. These have like a balmy type texture, and you can see it's like a mid-tone pink. Let me just swatch it against this one from Revlon in the shade Candied Rose, because I feel like they are really similar. Yeah, they are. Huh. I had a sneaking suspicion. I'm going to keep the Revlon one and I am going to pass on the Bobbi Brown one only because I'm definitely keeping this. This is the same formula but in a shade that I wear a lot more frequently. I don't think I need to have both, and I like probably having like more of a variety of different formulas and shades because it's more useful for me to like talk to you about. So decluttering this one, keeping this one. I'm also going to keep this one. This is the Bobbi Brown Crush Lip color and I'm running out of space, in the shade Baby, which is a really nice mid-toned baby pinky kind of color. I'm so cool and fun and interesting. But no, this is a really beautiful lipstick. I find these wear really well because they are kind of like lip balmy in the way they wear. So the way they wear off is really pretty, where the kind of color fades really evenly. They're really comfortable to wear. They don't dry out your lips. So I do really like this formula. So I'm just going to keep this one, and then, you know, yeah, I can have like a different formula from Revlon to compare things to and be able to chat about. So yeah, keeping this guy. And I know we just chatted about Revlon lipsticks, but this is technically a different formula. The other one was like a satin or cream lipstick, and this is the Shine one. And this is in the shade So Sleek Pink. It has like a creamy, like marshmallow vanilla scent. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's very yummy. And I have also been reaching for this one with somewhat frequency. You can see it's very balmy and shiny, like kind of has like a little lacquer vibe going onto it. And then the rest of these are more like nudie sheer pinks. So I'm just going to clean off the back of my hand, but let's all admire that swatch because that is a bunch of really beautiful colors. I love lipstick. I really do. Like, pretty. Makeup's so fun. Okie doke. Then these two are the same formula again. These are the Can Make Stay On Balm Rouge. And I recently went to use this one, which is in like a peachy color, and it's out really like really orange on my hand, and I was like, oh, like I put it on with my makeup because in my mind I was like, oh, it's like a corally kind of pink, and then I put it on and I was like, whoa, that's orange. So I like removed it and put a different one on. But I do like this one, again, same formula, but this is just in a different shade, and this one is much more of just a balmy pink. But yeah, I'm gonna keep the pink one and declutter the like peachy orange one. Sorry, they keep rolling everywhere. I'm also decluttering this one. This is the Screen Queen lip crayon from Zoe. I think last time I was also like on the fence about this one, and I was like, maybe I'll use it, and I just haven't used it. I really haven't reached for it. It's a lovely formula, nice color, but realistically, I reach for other things in its place. So I am going to pass this one on. I'm also going to declutter this one. You may remember from earlier in the video, cast your mind back, where I was talking about the Romand Black Cheek Balm. Again, this color, it's black in the tube, but when you swatch it on the lip, even if I do it on the hand, it won't really work because it's like a temperature sort of thing. This comes out to be like a smoky, like plum color with like a bit of gray to it, which is really pretty, but I just don't love it on myself. I do like the formula of this one. I do have floating around somewhere in like a handbag or something one of the other Romand lip balms, the Glassting Melting Balm in a pink shade. But yeah, this color is just not for me. And then these two are kind of similar. They're two little slim, like mini lipsticks. This one is from Opera, which is a Japanese brand, and it is this lip tint. And I remember when I bought it, again, years ago now, it was like super famous. I think this, I've had it for years. I think it has become discolored with time because it didn't used to be orangey, but it's gone kind of orange. So I think genuinely this one actually may have expired or gone a bit off, because I have been using it for years and I sort of didn't use it for a while, and then I put it on again and I was like, what the heck? So I am going to declutter this one because I think it's gone a bit funky. And then this one is from I'm Meme. It's like the Bare Lips lipstick. They also have one that's like a balm, but that one's okay, but I would recommend this one. And it's just this really beautiful sheer glossy lipstick in like a plum color. I'm keeping this one because I love it and I wear it all the time. Now this MAC lipstick is in the shade Blankety, and this was actually given to me by one of my friends who had it and said it wasn't really working for her. So she asked me if I wanted it, if I could make it work, and I've tried to make it work, but it also doesn't work for me. It's just a little bit too on the gray side. I am a cool tone person and I am someone who doesn't need to have like super bright, like high contrast colors, but something this gray just doesn't work for me. And I have tried making it work and like pairing it with different things, and unfortunately it doesn't work for me, which is sad. So I will be passing this one on. A beautiful color, like so cool that it has like the kind of bit of gray mixed into the beige, like a grayish, if you will. But I don't think I can pull it off. Then another one of these Hourglass lipsticks, but this is in kind of the pinky nude shade. And again, this is one where I like reached for it recently and was like, I should put this one on. And I like put it on and I was like, maybe not, like maybe I'll do something else. I think I'm learning like it's typically a bit of a sign of like, if, you know, obviously there are like certain looks where it's like you need something just slightly different, but I think it's happened a couple of times where I put it on and been like, okay, maybe one of my other nude lipsticks. So I think I am going to pass this one on because I'm not getting anywhere out of it. And it's a beautiful formula, but I'm not using it. And then we have these two, and I just wanted to give a shout out to these types of formulas in general, these like glossy stick balms with like the little clicky on the end. This one is from Etude. It is the Syrup Glossy balm stick. Oh no, just Syrup Glossy Balm. This is in the shade Rosy Lavender. I don't know if they make this anymore, so I'm hesitant to like recommend it, but beautiful like lavendery type shade. Quite similar to like the I'm Meme lipstick in terms of tone. And then this one is from Deceique, and this is their Melting Candy Balm in the shade Nudie Fig. Kind of similar actually, but they're a bit different. And I also just generally really like these types of products to pop in your bag because they're quite low fuss, but I like them both. So yeah, so here we go. Here are all of the lipsticks I am keeping, and then all of the lipsticks I am decluttering. I feel like I could cut this down a little bit more, and I'm tempted to, but I'm just gonna go with that for the moment. I'm looking at all of these lipsticks being like, yes, I want to wear all of these, and that's what's important. And then these ones are going to be passed on / decluttered. Okay, this is the final section of the video. We are so close. This is very exciting. We are doing all of the lip tints, which, similar to lipsticks, is probably a favorite category of mine. Of lips, I would say I wear lip tints probably the most often. So we have a lot to go through, and I did a lip tint video and they mostly fit into the traditional lip tint. So they're all in this category. So yeah, let's just do it. Okay. I'm doing it a bit sideways because it feels easier to do it this way. You may be looking at this and you may be like, hey, why are there like so many Romand lip tints? And I will let you know that while I have purchased some of them myself, or I had like gifted credit from retailers which stocked Romand, Romand are also very sweet and sent me like a whole bunch of lip tints at one point, like a bunch, all in a box. So that's why I have so many Romand lip tints. They are also my favorite lip tint formula, my most beloved, my most used, I would say. I'm always open to trying new things, but these are like tried, true, tested, reliable, and very much loved. So I'm aware, you know, God forbid a woman have an interest. So we're gonna come back to all of the Romand Juicy Lasting tints because they are all the same formula, but just in different shades. So I'm just gonna push them that away. And we're gonna start with these guys first. I am just going to pull out these two. This is the Amuse Gel Tint and the Romand Bare Water Tint. These are newish additions that I am still like just starting out testing. So I won't be declaring them because I just got them. So I'm gonna move them over here. And then now we will get into these ones and do some swatcheroos. First up, and I promise not everything is going to be from Romand. There's quite a bit in this category because I really, really like Romand lip tints. If you watch my top 10 lip tint video, which I've referenced a few times already, they have several different like lip tint formulas and I give you my opinion on those, so you can go watch that. I should have included this in the matte section, but this is the Romand Blur Fudge tint in the shade Cooling Up. And this is like a nude liquid lipstick, but it's like a pink nude. But it's also kind of sheer, and I actually quite like this formula. So I am going to keep this one, but this technically probably should have been included in the matte section. It obviously looks extremely similar to their dewy lip tints, but I'm going to keep this one, hold on to this one. Then I have two of the Romand Full Water Tint, and I'm just going to swatch them. I really like this formula. It's kind of a mix between like a tint and a gloss. It's a little more like sheer and not quite as staining as like the Juicy Lasting tints are. I'm a bit unsure. I'm not sure if I need both of these, but I think I need to like put them on like in practice with like a full face of makeup because they're quite different. One is a bit more of a vibrant kind of poppy pink and one is much more like a nude muted sort of neutral shade. So pending, I might not keep both of them. I'm gonna hold on to both of them for now, but that may not hold. I'm just gonna hold on to them for now and we might come back to it. I am definitely keeping both of these. This is the Romand Glasting Water Tint in the shade Mauve Moon and the Lily by Red Glassy Layer Fixing Tint in the shade Rosy Nude. I took this traveling with me on my big trip that I did last year. That was like 2 months long. And I wore this so often. It lasts really well. It wears away really beautifully. It has a gorgeous finish. I will just show you what it looks like because I'm singing its praises, so I may as well. It's like a nudie pink shade. Love it, so keeping it. And then this is pretty similar. Well, it's similar-ish. It's a similar type of glossy tint. This is the Romand one. It's just a little bit more pinky, whereas this one's a little bit more like mauvey, plummy kind of. I would say the Lily by Red one is like longer lasting, but I do like both of them a lot and we'll hold on to both of them. And I'm gonna clean these off like a bit faster because yeah, they do stain. So it's gonna make it harder for me to swatch as we go on. This one I will be passing on. This is from Deceique. It is their Water Blur tint. I actually think this is a really nice like sheer matte tint formula, but this color is not for me. Deceique were very sweet and sent me some in PR, which is very nice. This was the one of the range that they sent that I chose to keep and test that I thought I would probably like the most because the other shades were all kind of like browns and oranges, really gorgeous. But yeah, I like the formula, but I've tried to put this on a couple of times and again, it's just, I'm not loving the color. So I will pass this on to someone else who will definitely love it more than me. Beautiful formula and also like stunning packaging. It's like a soft touch packaging. I'm obsessed. It's so pretty. Then I'm holding on to both of these. These I tested as part of the lip tint video and I quite like them both. This Etude De-Darling tint is iconic. They've repackaged it and probably reformulated it a bit and changed the shade range. But this is like one of the first, not this one specifically, but this product is like one of the first makeup products I bought when I was like getting into K-beauty and I was like 15. And then this one from 3CE is their kind of like glossy tint. The exact name is escaping me now and it is not on the packaging anywhere, but it's in the shade Alive Pink and it looks like this. It's like a dewy sort of tint, potentially a bit more on that like corally pink side of things. And I'm gonna hold on to it for the time being. I'm not as in love with this one yet, but again, I think maybe I'll give it the time, and if I fall in love with it, great, and if I don't, then I'll know. But that's that one from 3CE. Then we have these two from Musage Mansion. We have Icy Glow, which this is sort of like a gloss tint, and I do actually reach for this one pretty often because I think it's quite pretty. So I'm gonna keep this one because I reach for this one quite a bit and I really like the, you know, ice cube type packaging. And then this one, because it has like a matte frosted packaging, I intuitively like don't reach for it that much. Like, you know what I mean? That type of like frosted soft matte packaging, you always think matte, or at least I feel like it's very like matte finish coated. But ironically, it's the non-matte one from this range that is the matte one. So this is like a more like watery, traditional type tint, not like a glossy tint. And you can see they're very similar shades, but they're different formulas. So glossy tint and then just normal tint. And I quite like that color too. And I think the formula is nice, but I always would get confused and I would be like, wait, which one's the matte one and which one's the normal one? And then I'd always just go for the like glossy one because I was like, okay, at least I know this one isn't the matte one. That's like just a more natural, traditional type tint. So I'm gonna keep this one and have a bit more of a play. And you can see my hand is starting to stain, which is why I left the lip tints for the last of the video. And then we have these two guys. This one is from Deceek, and I have been using this one and I'm gonna keep it. It's a really gorgeous pink shade. So pretty. Smells really yummy too. Has like a nice fruity smell. It's in the shade number 10, I believe. I did not get this in PR because I saw it and it looked really cute and I want to try it. Semi-new edition though, so still need some time with it, but solid initial impressions. And then this one from Peri Pera was also for the lip tint video. This is the Ink Mood tint. Obviously the packaging with the bow is stunning. I'm gonna hold on to this one for the meantime as well. I want to test it a little bit more. I feel like I was expecting to fall in love with this one a bit more than I have. The packaging is so adorable and I just know that everyone loves these Peri Pera tints. And I like it, but I don't love it as much as like some of the other formulas that I really, really love. I want to have some more time with it because I think the color is really beautiful. I also think obviously the packaging is stunning. So we're going to hold on to this one, but TBD, you know what I mean? Like, we'll see. I just realized that I only decluttered one of that group of lip tints, which, okay. Compared to like some of the matte formulas, etc., I do like a traditional gel tint quite a bit. They have that in its favor and they all are mostly, apart from the two Romand ones, are different brands, different formulas. Love justification, very slay. It's all right though. I think there may be a couple there that could get decluttered in the next little while if I am like, you know, more actively testing and trying them. But let's talk about all of these Romand ones, and I'm just keeping this here to stop them from all rolling away because I love the Romand Juicy Lasting tint. I have used all of these multiple times, but I don't feel that I need this many colors. And I definitely have my favorites of the group that I regularly use. So let's do a little swatcheroo and decide which ones we're gonna keep. Although I will say I am going to declutter this one. That seems like a random call out, not Funky Melon Catching Strays. But this color is just a bit too like bright, a bit too dark, a bit too vibrant. If I am gonna wear like a really bright color, I tend not to do it in the tint formula. I tend to do it in like some of those lipsticks we were looking at before. And I'll just swatch it here. It's a really, really bright pink. And it's pretty, but ultimately I don't really reach for it. And again, this was one where I put it on recently and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do that. I just don't reach for this one over these ones, and we're out to look at all of them, so I'm going to declutter this one. And as you can see, I only had that one on for a few seconds and it's immediately left a stain, so you can see why they're called the Juicy Lasting Tint. Their stain power is great. They wear so beautifully. I can't say enough good things about them. Let's do some of the darker shades on this hand, then maybe we'll have to go over to this hand because this one's looking pretty stained. So we'll do a couple of the shades on here. So I've just swatched these four on my hand. We have Fig Fig, Almond Rose, Pink Pumpkin, and Muted Peach. And these are all like, they're more warm or like muted type of colors compared to these ones, which are kind of more on the pinky side of things. Actually, I'm also going to swatch these two. This is Bare Fig, okay, which you can see is instantly way more purpley than any of these. And this one is Peeling Undo. Okay. This is where the decision making gets hard because like, they're all kind of similar, but they're all a little bit different. They all have their nuances. I am gonna keep Bare Fig. I knew I would actually going into this. Any of the shades with like Bare in them, like Bare, those I tend to really like because they tend to have like a bit of a milky like creaminess to them that I feel like is really pretty. So I'm gonna keep this one Bare Fig. I am going to declutter Peeling Undo, and then I'm sort of stuck with these ones here because they're all different but also not. I'm gonna keep Fig Fig. This is the original color that I feel like got really popular and went really viral and kind of popularized the brand for being like a cool toned lip tint in a market that was primarily warm tones. So I'm gonna keep Fig Fig, which is that one there. Again, I just wiped off 2 of those tints and my hand is so stained, which good, you know, lip stains that work. I'm having a really hard time with these 4. Like genuinely, I'm just sitting here in like silence being like, what do I do? Well, sorry, I should clarify these 3. I'm keeping Fig Fig. But these 3 here are like, I'm just gonna take off them so I can see the like color stain underneath. Pink Pumpkin is such a unique shade, but ultimately I don't think I'll reach for it. It's really pretty though, but I'm just like, ugh, it needs to be set free. I may go back on this, but I am going to declutter Pink Pumpkin for now. And then of these 2, they are quite similar. Like looking at them side by side, it's like a really minimal difference. I may declutter both of these, but let me just park it because these are sort of more in that like neutrally type area, which is where we're going into here. And I might look at these next to this shade, which is Bare Vine, which let's try and do this on the other hand. It's going to be a bit uncoordinated though. That is Bare Vine and that is a beautiful shade. I'm more likely to wear Bare Vine than I am these 2. Not to say that I wouldn't wear these 2. I'm gonna maybe figure that out over the course of the next few minutes, but I'm definitely keeping Bare Vine. That is so beautiful. I am 100% keeping Bare Grape. This is my most worn Romand lip tint out of any of them. I would say I probably am more likely to go for Bare Vine now, but I had Bare Grape first. And see, putting Bare Grape next to these 2, I'm kind of like, sorry, I feel like this swatching situation has gotten a little crazy. So I might swatch these 2 on this hand in a second. Actually, I'll do that now. Okay, that is pretty funny. That is Bare Grape. That is Mulled Peach. That is Almond Rose. Those are basically like the same. Well, they're not the same, but they're very similar. Maybe I'll just keep Bare Grape. Like I can see the differences, but they're so similar that in practicality, I think I only need one of those 3. You know what I mean? Actually, on camera, they look more different than they do in real life. That's weird. But I'm gonna keep Bare Grape and then I'm gonna declutter these 2. And if I realize I've made a massive mistake and I'm like, oh my gosh, I miss Almond Rose so deeply, it is still available for purchase. Like if I really was really missing it that badly, which I don't think will be the case, then I can always get it back. This hand looks so crazy. Anyway, so we're keeping Bare Grape. And then the last 2 shades of the Juicy Lasting tint are in Very Berry Pink and Pink Popsicle. And I'm gonna try and swatch them on here. And you can see on my hand, they are quite a bit brighter. That is Very Berry Pink and that is Pink Popsicle. Very similar shades. I will probably keep Pink Popsicle because it's just a little bit more cool toned. They're really similar. And I will declutter Very Berry Pink. And a very solid effort because once where we had 10 Romand lip tints of the same formula, the Juicy Lasting tint, I now have 5. These are the 5 I'm keeping and these are the 5 I'm decluttering and these 2 I'm using to stop them from rolling away. So overdue and needed because I do love the formula, but I was perhaps blinded by the fact of how much I love the formula that I was like, do I really need all these colors? So that is satisfying. And with that and my very stained hands, that we have finished the declutter. It is done. We have gone through everything. Yay!
And with that, that is the last of all of the drawers. And here is an after shot as how all of the drawers are looking now. I don't think we were quite in like dire straits at the beginning, but it was starting to feel a little cluttered. And now that we have decluttered, I feel they are looking a lot nicer, a lot calmer. And it's just so satisfying to see everything just neatly laid out. As I've said throughout the video, I much prefer a more curated collection of things I love. And I'm sure if you've seen my other content, whether it's like wardrobe declutters or just generally when I'm talking about fashion and beauty, I don't feel the need for like a massive collection. It kind of stresses me out. Not to say like I'm a mega minimalist. I obviously enjoy material things. I'm a Libra, but I like enjoying them. You know what I mean? Like I like using them and feeling like good about the fact that I have them and they're being loved and used. But if you have made it to the end of this declutter, I just want to say thank you for listening to me Yapatron and helping me through my decision making. And I hope some of the mini reviews and the insights that I kind of shared along the way about certain products has been helpful to you. Please feel free to leave any questions in the comments down below, whether it's about a particular product or a category of products or brands, whatever it is, pop it down in the comments and I will get back to you. It's over. A big shout out again to Linjer for sponsoring this video. And I hope you enjoyed another annual video. And it is reminding me that we might be due for a bit of a wardrobe audit soon. I do those ones like twice a year, like kind of as the seasons change, because that makes sense, but might have to do one of those soon. So if you are new here, then please subscribe if you enjoy declutter content, because it's not just a one-off annually. There's a couple more. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!